You're listening to Ernestly Speaking, the only weekly podcast that covers friends, foes, and anything that goes. And now, for your badass host, Ernest Owens.
And we're back with another episode of Ernestly Speaking with your host, Ernest Owens, myself. Well, it has been quite the week. And what a difference a week can make. Because around this time, we were observing the very quick dropout of President Biden from the presidential race, a quick shift around supporting Kamala Harris for president. And since then, it has been full out go. It's been quite a week of surprises, predictions that I've had that have come to the surface, things that have been fascinating and surprising. It's been a hell of a week, and it's been good. We have so much to talk about, as you all already know. I mean, my week has been filled with good news and good things. I've been going viral a lot, and a new audience of people from across the country have discovered me in a way that, election seasons will bring people. And, Ernestly Speaking was prepared for this. We were prepared for this moment. This show, what I had going on, I was prepared for this moment. I've been doing this show for nearly 4 years, and, there has been a need for political voices of reason, diverse political voices of reason, folks that know their shit. In a time of chaos and madness and misinformation and disinformation, people are finally waking up and looking for the source. And so it's been quite a great week. My book has cracked into the top 100 in its respective genres. Hasn't done that in, I think, since last year. The book is selling. It's been on this upward trajectory for the past couple of months, but just has soared this past week. People have went out and got the book, or looked me up and followed me. My Instagram, my Twitter account, like my followers have boosted the algorithms or algorithming in my favor. We'll see how long that lasts, but it's been quite a joyride. There has been like a reinvention of sorts, and it happens. I feel like once a year, there's always this miraculous thing that happens, and then there just becomes this, like, who was that? I know it. And then it's word of mouth. And it's definitely happening over here. And I'm super grateful. I'm super grateful for the new listeners and subscribers of this podcast. There's a lot of you all. Hi. I can't even say Court 200 anymore because of just where we've been this past week. But it's been great to watch across all board. And thank you all so much for your support. And for folks who've been ride or dies from the very beginning, you all know it all starts with you. But it's been great. I feel a boost of excitement and enthusiasm from everything that's been happening. And just gonna keep being me. There's no changes here. I'm not gonna grift anybody and make subscriptions and all that. I'm not doing any of that. It's the show is free for you all because somebody else is paying for it. But it's always going to be accessible in that way. That's what I'm about. So I'm not going to get Hollywood on people and change things up. The show is free. Subscribe, spread the word, because I believe good information should be accessible to all. So super excited about that. Thank you all so much. And for people who just have discovered the book and have sent me messages and have read it and have listened to the audiobook and have told me your thoughts, thank you for so much. I don't get a chance to really give everyone full-fledged comments and paragraphs, so don't think that I don't read the comments. I read everything that is sent to me, which is why I make sure that I filter through the bullshit. We do that too. But if I give you a heart or I say thanks or I appreciate it, please note that I really did read the comment and I really, thought about it. I just can't comment and I have a life outside all this, so I can't, go as in depth as much as I would like in some cases. Sometimes if it's a certain period of the day and I really don't have anything else going on, I will get a little bit more conversational. But just note that hearts mean I have read it, I see you, I appreciate it. And if I give a words or anything, just know that I felt it and I received it. I will say that. I try to do that much. Cause I can't, I've been doing this for a long time, as I say. And I've gotten better at figuring out how much I can get, cause I will find myself in a tunnel for hours responding to comments and having, and it's just not, I have been good at working on a life balance since the pandemic. I have worked on that, and I am somebody's husband and several young brothers, big brothers, and I'm people's besties in real life. And I gotta be there for those folks. And of course, work. So yes, but I do appreciate it. I do see it and I do receive it, and I'm very grateful. So I just want to say that. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of appearances and things, traveling, all the great news. I was on this great podcast called, that was just really good, a really progressive podcast. It's on YouTube and it's on YouTube and it's on social media. And they're really good. They do this really great show. They reached out to me, and I don't know how they found my email address, of course, because I'm always on social, but they contacted me and I was excited about this show, and trying to figure out more about it. It's a progressive show that is called The 5-8. And they do this show, I believe it's a YouTube show, but I believe it's also a podcast, but it's on YouTube. It's called The 5-8. So it's spelled THEFIVE and then the number 8. And it's a political show where they discuss 5 topics for 8 minutes each, hence the name. They talk about serious stuff, they have fun stuff, and they brought me on. They've had really great past guests. They've had journalists, they've had academics and scholars, they've had former FBI, executives. They've had a nice group, and they've had me on the show. And I was a hit that they want me to come back in the future. And there was a lot of people that watched the show, and I got a big boost of followers, and folks have been buying the books since I've made that appearance on Friday night show. But you can go watch it on YouTube. They're pretty good people. They're white, they're liberals, they're funny, they really know their shit. I love the conversations we had. But I talk about Kamala Harris's rise, with this presidential race. I talk about VP picks. My VP picks have changed since that episode, as you will hear on this. So that's why I tell people, you have to, if you're going to play this game of trying to know the politics, first of all, I'm an expert, baby. So listen what I'm telling you, but also just understand that stuff is changing every 24 hours. And if you are somebody who taps in and taps out, please respect the people like me who do this for a living, that get paid to do this, that do this when it's not famous and popular. For those who listen to this podcast, y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all come to me every week because a lot of people don't follow this stuff on a regular basis. But it's just always interesting how every election cycle, everybody want to wake up and be political experts and talk about this stuff. As somebody who's a political expert 365, 52 weeks in a year, it's just always interesting, because I'm just sitting here like, but you didn't have nothing to say 3 weeks ago. Now all of a sudden you reading a couple of articles and you seeing some stuff on social, and now you think you got some ideas. I like people that's engaged, but please understand that there are folks there's levels to this. So you can be that expert and a messenger at your salon and your barbershop with folks who are not as engaged, and you can give them some information. But when you step in the big leagues with the big dogs that do this for a living and got to get it right and get it consistent and make it make sense to a larger mass of people on a regular basis, please recognize that we're not the same. Just saying. People be in my comments, did you know this? Did you know? Yes. And I'm not trying to be a smart ass, but yes. It's nothing. I am the internet, and the internet is me, for good or for worse. A lot of the stuff that I get sent to me, I'm like, I've read it. I've seen it. And guess what? Sometimes I choose to talk about it, and sometimes I choose not to. Because sometimes there's information that is not being provided. Or sometimes I'm kind of like, I see you all sharing this little video, but there's more to that story. Wait on it. And then the wait on it comes, and I see people saying, never mind. And then they send me the other thing. And I'm just like, and then sometimes I might get a little smart aleck, and I'll be like, yeah, that's why I didn't respond the first time. But it's just sometimes I know people are excited, people are hyped, there's a lot of feelings and emotions. just make sure you just don't dump on people who do this for a living. Just don't dump. Go find a friend. Go talk to someone about this outside of the tacticianers and practitioners that do this for a living, because we know, because we're the ones creating the news. It's weird when they be telling journalists, like, this is the one thing that pet peeves me. Why is the media not talking about this? How do you know about it? For real, how did you know about it? Exactly. And then they show you an article where the thing that they're saying to me is not talking about to me is. Maybe what you want to say is, why aren't more people talking about it? Why is this not being covered across all media? Good questions. Let's frame it differently, because it's not that people don't know. It's just that some things may not be as much of a priority. So just want to give you all some media literacy, because as we continue to consume information, media literacy is crucial, and it continues to be crucial. I want to say this before I get into my, what I'm doing and then get to hot topics. But JD Vance did not fuck a couch. Yes, it needs to be said. It's a funny joke, but it's a joke. It's not true at all. It's just a joke. Somebody made it up, and they're doing so to challenge Elon Musk's Twitter, or X as he likes to call it. I'm going to keep calling it Twitter. It's not real, right? But it's a joke, and it's funny, and people make a joke out of it. And if you actually are trying to treat it like it has any merit, please don't. But again, if you don't understand internet culture, it can create problems. So we got to get to that. Solutions. So great news. I was finally able to announce that I'm going to be a new adjunct professor at Community College of Philadelphia. Starting in September, I will be there. I'm excited. For those who are asking, yes, I've departed from Cheyney University, the nation's first HBCU. I was a proud professor there for nearly 3 years. It was bittersweet. That word, we're going to talk more about that later in this episode, because I know I created quite a little fizzy or whatever a couple of days ago with how this announcement rolled out, and I'll explain why in a minute. But Cheyney was great. I have nothing negative or bad to say about Cheyney. It's not a situation of this was bad, so I left to go here because it's better. I just saw new opportunities at CCP. There's just a wealth of resources that are aligned with my current interests professionally and scholarly. And, it also aligned with my overall philosophy on education, which, to be very clear, I always have made this point. And for those who've been listening to podcasts for years, you already know what my thinking is on this. But, as somebody who's gotten degrees at elite institutions, I got my bachelor's at the University of Pennsylvania. I got my master's from USC, University of Southern California, Annenberg School of Communication and Journalism. I've been, this is, it's so easy to be a professor at these very elite institutions. And teach kids and do that. And, but they're always, those types of schools, right, with the big endowments and the big money and all that, they're going to be fine with or without my presence, because there's going to be tons of professors from all over the world that's going to go there for all of the prestige and all those things. I don't need, I needed to graduate from these schools for the prestige to help advance my career, right, especially as a Black man, right? But being a teacher, I don't need the prestige of the institution. And quite frankly, if I'm doing the job the way that I envision to, running towards prestige, I feel like actually undermines what the true essential essence of education should be and can be. It's not a knock to those professors that do go, but if you're an adjunct professor, specifically somebody that's still in your profession and you're trying to expand knowledge, you go to the places where people need it the most. People may not have the luxury to replace what you're providing, right? And to me, those places are underserved universities and institutions, HBCUs that are not the Howards and the Morehouses and Spelmans of the world, right? But Cheneys, right? Xavier's, right? Prairie Views, right? Those institutions that Bennett's, right? That don't get that type of star power or energy. Go there and bring something there that isn't there already or isn't being amplified as much. And so that was my philosophy with HBCUs, but also community colleges, because there's always been these weird narratives. And so I've always wanted to work in multi-generational and cultural spaces and atmospheres. And CCP hits all of those things while allowing me to expand the skill set that I have and what I bring to the table. So, Cheney will forever have my heart. And, writing my letter of resignation to them this week after everything got confirmed with CCP and a roster and the schedule was in place. Because let me tell you something, I'm old school. They say don't open a new door until you close the old door. For several weeks, I have been in communication with CCP to, map out the deal, do all the business, all that. And, I did not want to officially depart until things were signed, things were sealed, things were officiated, schedules were made, because, I didn't want to, create panic. So once that did go into play, once, IDs and pictures, things was official, I was like, okay, I am, this is a real thing. Then I finally told Cheney, and it was bittersweet because I really, really love those kids. They're great. And the wonderful thing is I made a joke to my students. I was like, I will not follow you back until I'm no longer your professor. Because they all followed me. My page is open. So everybody was following. My students were following my page, seeing me live my life. I come to class. They be like, I'm so surprised you came to class, Professor Owens. Because you was turned up this weekend. I'm like, listen, teachers have lives too, y'all. Like, y'all got to stop this. But a lot of them were freshmen because I was teaching freshman seminar. So they're still in that mindset of believing that teachers are just only in school grading papers and things. So for me, they got to see a very lit social person that was also very academic and able to teach. And I used to use it as an example to my students to show them that there is work-life balance, that you can work hard, but you also can play hard too. And so it was so many great moments and memories. And I'm really, really grateful for them. And they're going to be great. And so, I follow a lot of them. They DM me and found out the news, and I messaged them and told them that, whatever opportunities, scholarships, stuff I know about programs, I'm going to always be a resource to them as they continue on their college journey. So, that was very big to me. But CCP, I'm super excited about CCP. I'm elated. My husband worked for them and did communications for them for, several years before he went to city council. And I always had this rule that I would not teach at certain, that rule kind of got broken because y'all know he's the comms director for Kathy Gilmore Richardson, and I'm doing city council live for WRD. So we have this interesting, the show Scandal with Olivia Pope and Fear, we have this thing where we see each other in City Hall and we say, it's good morning, Mr. Johnson. That's why I always call him Mr. Johnson. That's the joke, because at work, that's how we interact. It's not, hey, honey, what you doing? It's always very, I'm doing the show. He'll come up and he'll give me the press releases from Kathy. It was like, councilman wants to come on the show. And I'll say, I'll consider it. And then I'll be like, sure. He's actually better at it than I am. I'm very a goofball with it. I'm very much trying to be. And then my producer, Troy from WRD, he's my producer on the show. He'll say, he plays with it too. He says, this is coming from Catherine's spokesperson, wants to know if she can come on the show. And I'll be like, tell Mr. Johnson I'll consider it. It's just so funny. At the very beginning, he was like, your mans? And I said, who's my mans? Who? What mans? Oh, and I'm like, no. It's, my husband, I don't know. He, my husband is out of City Hall. Mr. Johnson is in City Hall, and he will be treated like every other comms director. So I say yes, and I say no, or I'll say maybe so. And there's no pre-written questions in this marriage, okay? Nobody's giving me anything to ask, okay? When Kathy sits there, she gets the hot questions like everybody else. And then as the comms director, he'll say, I wasn't expecting you to ask that. I said, well, listen, I'm doing my job. This is what journalists do, baby. Let me tell you. Okay. So it's funny. But outside of that reality, that norm, there is a nice balance and a nice respect there. And so in the higher education space, there is, it's different because when we was at CCP, I just feel like that would have just been too much. Me teaching there, all of that, it just would have been way too much. And then also, you all know my younger brother goes to Temple. And, there was a moment where people were like, oh, you should teach at Temple. I won't teach at Temple. There's no shade there. I just won't. I mean, never say never, but nice things. I like Temple for my younger brother. I like the department he is, the program he is. But, teaching journalism at Temple, they have the resources. They're just so, I just like, look, listen, it's not a bad thing. It's just, I like to go somewhere where I feel like I will be an essential player and I will be wanted. That's what I will say. There is a dearth of black male media journalism professors there. It's just an interesting space. I will just leave it at that. I don't want to see, because here I come, right? Here I go. I go in that rabbit hole. I'm about to go in. Nope. I'm going to stay focused. I'm not going to go off into a tangent about it. Nope. I just want to say that I like to be places where I'm wanted and I will have the flexibility and freedom. And CCP does that for me. And Cheney did it for me with what they had. CCP does that for me. I'm excited. So I'm going to be teaching a public speaking course because public speaking is important. And I'm going to also be teaching a really cool communications through technology course that talks about social media, online presence, behavior, and communication through that. Media literacy, people. It's great. And the cool news is that anybody can enroll to take those classes. They will be on Mondays and Wednesdays. One of the classes is in the early morning, like early afternoonish, and other classes in the later afternoonish, but it will be Mondays and Wednesdays, which is perfect for my schedule because that's exactly what my schedule was when I was teaching at Cheney. I had Mondays and Wednesdays. So I'm super excited about this upcoming season. I start, I believe, September 3rd. So like right after Labor Day, I'm coming right into CCP teaching these classes. So I got, roughly a month away. So I'm enjoying the rest of my summer, my hot boy summer, my hot hubby summer, I guess. And then getting ready to go full throttle. Philadelphia City Council Live is coming back Thursday, September 5th. I know you all miss me. I miss you all too. So everything's coming back, for fall. I'm gearing up for the fall. I got things to do, money to make, opportunities, signing contracts, making it happen over here. And speaking of making it happen, I have a big announcement to make that's going to come out. If you listen to this show and you're one of what I call the core 200, maybe you have to call you the core 400 at this point. But if you are a part of that core 200, and what I mean by core 200, these are the people that listen to the podcast when it first drops in the morning, the first 12 hours when it drops. My show comes out, as you all know, normally Monday at midnight. So 12 a.m., on a Monday, you can expect this show traditionally. And then, for those who get up in the morning, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., get on their way to work or whatever, you all listen to the show. So the core 200 is like a boost of about over 200 something listeners that listen. Well, it was that way. It's the number is so much higher now, but we average over 1,000 listens, within the span of later that day and even more as the week increases. But about 200 people will just instantly download it around the first wee hours of the morning, and then it grows. But that number has been increasing in the past several months. I really need to start saying core 400 because it's really become 400. But I've been so used to saying 200, but it's really about 400 now. And so you all listen to the show before noon. I don't know if you all notice a pattern, but I will give you all this little sneak peek. Normally when I make announcements, I always make announcements at noon. I try to, unless it's like some breaking news shit. But if any news I have, I try to put it at noon. The reason why is because East Coast, you're eating lunch. West Coast, you're up in the morning at 9 a.m. It's the top of your timeline because of time zoning, and everyone in between, you're early and you're up enough to hear the news. So noon has always been my time to drop it. So my West Coast people can wake up to it. My East Coast people can eat lunch and be settled in. Everybody in between is up and ready, right? So I always try to do it at noon. Well, Monday at noon, okay, there's going to be a big announcement. Yes, announcements upon announcements, right? I am going to be proud to announce that I am the executive advisor for the Philly Download. Now, some of you are like, okay, what's an executive advisor and what is the Philly Download? Let's start with the Philly Download. The Philly Download is a brand new online news platform that is specifically invested in targeting Black, millennial, and Gen Z voters in Philadelphia. It's hyper local. It's hyper intersectional. It's hyper focused. It is hyper community. There is an incredible team of people who, for a while, has been observing, specifically in Philadelphia, this important battleground state, city, whatever, right? That there has been a need to engage specifically Black voters in this very diverse city, and young voters, and there has been there's not been enough platforms that speak to them in ways that is relatable, civic, and everything of that nature. What would it look like to have an online news platform that is creating content that is very modern, that speaks to the things they're talking about, that's engaging, and is being created and led and dominated by millennials and Gen Zers? And so there's been some incredible grant money and crowdfunding and sourcing that is allowed for there to be a team that is being able to produce this content and do it for this particular audience and really make a strong impact. And so the Philly Download is that. The website is available. You can go to the link in my bio. So if you follow me on Instagram or Twitter, if you go right now, okay, to my link to my bio, you'll see the Philly Download. You can click on it and go to the website. And once you get on the website, you'll see it. I mean, I love it. It's so beautiful. If you're on the desktop, it's a beautiful website. The artwork is dope. And you can click Get the Download, which is at the bottom, and you can be able to instantly access the site, get the news. We're not just political news. We're culture. We're talking about culture. We're talking about issues, civic focused, and it's beautiful. It's very Philly. It's very Black, and it's very much so for millennials and Gen Zers, because this population has a lot of power and influence to shape elections and move elections. And there's not enough media content that speaks specifically to them, right? When you look at some of the traditional media that we have, that's Black media, you have WRD, which is a great site, a great community outlet, but they are still trying to engage this demographic. And they have a really great appeal to boomers and Gen Xers. That's the strong base of their audience. But they haven't galvanized the market to appeal to Gen Zers and millennials. So there has to be something, right? The Philadelphia Tribune doesn't do it enough at all, to be honest. And so there are media outlets out there that just have not tapped into it on this hyper-local level. So this is a void that we're filling, and it's very intentional. And there's a lot of great money to do great quality. So as executive advisor, my role is I'm not going to be creating content for the site. I do a lot of work everywhere else. I do a lot of content. I'm doing journalism coverage on the national level, the local level for so many places. And so how do I bring something of value and difference? So I'm tapping into my media mogul head. And as executive advisor, I am coaching, I am training, I'm advising this incredible news team of Gen Zers and millennials that are Black that are producing this content. And I'm giving them great editorial training and advising and just really, helping to inform and shape what this looks like. So I'm super excited to be in that type of role and just be a mentor and a guide for so many great people. So people that's on the team, the senior editor is Whitney Roberts, who is you all know her on Twitter and on Instagram as @TheReclaimed. And a lot of you all follow her, know she's badass. And so I recruited her. I went up, I made the phone call. And when I was thinking about someone who could be great for this project and his team and was talking to the funders and folks, I said, I think I have the perfect person that can really bring something to the table and would do this in a heartbeat. And Whitney Roberts, the reclaimed, she is phenomenal with this. And it was just great to be able to find talent and recommend the perfect person. She's a Black woman. She's Philly through and through. She's a millennial. She's a firecracker. She just speaks my language, and I think she represents what the Philly download does well. They needed a senior reporter, and I was like, who is a Black Gen Z or millennial on the cusp person that I read, that I look up to, that I admire? And this guy, his name is Rotimi. He is incredible. He is a great voice. He does a lot. He's in law school right now, but he does a lot of great political writing for the Daily Beast, which you all know I write for as well. He contributes for various sites. He's worked on political campaigns. He understands politics really, really well. And he's just a burst of fresh air. I'm a real big fan of him. And he's been a fan of me for a while. And I just admire his work. So his name is Rotimi Adeoye. It's Rotimi. And his last name is spelled Adeoye. And he is just wonderful. A great political voice. And he's going to do some really great reporting and great work. And I'm super excited to see what he brings to the table. So working with this great team, there's so many other people behind the scenes doing great work as well to help fundraise, to help advise. We have a great advisory board that's coming out. There's going to be a great launch party, some great events coming. You're going to see a lot more from us, but the announcement is coming out Monday at noon, so you can be able to check out, what we're doing here. But I'm inspired. I'm fired up. We're 100 days into this election, and it's important to engage people and keep people involved. So this is my contribution to that. And, I wanted to do something different, in addition to the work I'm doing. How can I lend my skills to make a difference? And I think everybody can in these elections. All of you all can be creative and think about what you can do to get people taking this election seriously in your respective communities. Whether you're a white woman, what are you white women doing to get white women in your neighborhoods? What are Black men doing? What are we doing? And there's a lot of things we're doing. Our fraternities and things are working to do voter mobilization. We can't endorse candidates given our status, right, as 501c3 and 7. But what can we do as a collective to get people involved? And so we're doing that. We're having those conversations. We're doing that work. And so I'm super excited that I'm at a time where I don't have to question my involvement, what my impact can be. I'm kind of in a space that is doing that work. But I encourage you all to consider the things you can do in your spaces. So I'm super excited, y'all. It's this week has been a burst of energy and optimism. And I hope people are feeling that, because there's so much good news in addition to all of the other things that are happening in the world. So I want to take this moment talking about food and places I went to, because I've been out a lot this week. It was a taco week, interesting enough. I went to High Low Tacos that is in the neighborhood. They finally got to try them. I went out with my LB, Lion Brother, for those who don't know what that means. We had a great little catching up in a little kiki time, and had some really great tacos. Was really impressed. What I like about High Low is that they know what they do well and they stick with it. They got this really great queso sauce with burnt ends. They have some really great ranch water, which, let me be very clear, I loved. What's funny is that I'm not really a crazy tequila drinker, but I love some tequila cocktails that's not the typical margaritas. Like, I do like margaritas, if they're done, but I really like cool, creative tequila cocktails that I drink. So one of my favorites is ranch water, which I grew up drinking in Texas, that is flavorful with salsa. It's a really cool drink, and a lot of places don't do ranch water. And so if you can find a great Mexican spot or a place that serves margaritas and things, ask them if they have ranch water on the menu or if they can make it, because if they can, it's great. It is basically the tequila Aperol spritz without Aperol, but it's that same type of spritzy fun. But it's really good. I really like a good ranch water. So that was great. The tacos are really fun because they're creative. They had what I like about Hilo is that they're just creative with their tacos. Like, it's not necessarily all Mexican, right? I mean, the taco inspiration is Mexican, but their creativity, what they do with their tacos, they got like 3 different shrimp variations, which I appreciated. But they have this mushroom asada taco. It sounds weird, mushroom taco, but it was probably one of the best tacos they had on their menu. And it's vegetarian. It's not vegan because they have this really great burnt cheese situation inside the taco. You know how they do it with the birria tacos? This was incredible, y'all. It was memorable. I highly recommend it. We were very much so impressed with that taco. But it's just a cool vibe. It's cute. Happy hour, fun, easygoing, just a good time. Sometimes you don't want to do, this week was about comfort, casual eating. Sometimes you don't want to go out and ball all out and do crazy things. I mean, I do. But I'm also thinking about folks who people have said to me that they wanted me to find, people say, look, some of us don't be balling on the budget. I get it. So find good places where you can still go and have a good time and not spend crazy money. So that was the theme of this week and some of the places I went to. So then also I caught up with my good girl, Dr. Parks. We went to Condessa, which is a part of Define Hospitality, which I'm a big fan of. They're the restaurant group. They have Kalila, they have Soraya, they have Pizzeria Badia, they have El Teco, the spot, the rooftop. But they also have Condessa, which is fabulous. And I really love Condessa. Condessa was dope. And we had a ball. Okay. We ate our way through that. We had ceviche. We had these incredible tacos. I mean, they are good. That's a good spot. That's a good place. I ain't gonna hold you. Listen, I don't really do tacos too much. Cause I'm from Texas, y'all. So part of my bias is that I'm just a little too spoiled because of Texas, the gems in Texas cuisine. But Condessa is good. Hilo is fun, but Condessa, if you really if you're a serious taco eater, you like some Mexican food, that's definitely in the conversation. We definitely one of the best Mexican restaurants I've had in Philly. They know what they're doing over there, and they're doing it well. They everything they do, they got a good little situation over there. So I highly recommend Condessa. So then I also went this week to Rex at the Royal. And I need to say this, and I'm going to throw some shade, but it is what it is about you East Coasters. So Rex at the Royal was great because Chef Angie Brown, who's this legendary chef. If you do not know who Chef Angie Brown is, Google her. She's a Black woman. She is 70, but does not look it at all. I mean, it does not crack over there. Fabulous. She's gorgeous. But she can cook her ass off. And she was on TV. She's an icon. She was on TV before the girls was getting the TV deals. On Food Network, cooking. She was that girl. She's been in the game for a minute. She's owned several restaurants in Philadelphia throughout the decade. She's been in the game for over, she said, I think 40 years she's been cooking. She's a pro. She's a legend. And I love her. I really do love her. She's family. And she's just great. But she has been doing some takeovers and some pop-ups at Rex at the Royal. And she's got this new situation she does now every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. She has this fried chicken special. And it is the best fried chicken I've had in Philadelphia. I'm just going to have to say that. I know it's going to cause controversy, but it is what it is. Y'all, let me say something about Philadelphia specifically. Why is it hard to find good fried chicken places? Let me be very clear. Why is it hard to find some good Southern fried chicken? There is some gentrified chicken out there, fried chicken that's okay, it's okay, but some people be doing the most. Breadcrumbs, y'all using breadcrumbs, y'all using pretzel crust for your chicken. Can I just get some good ass fried chicken? And when I mean fried chicken, I'm not talking chicken strips. I want the bone in. Why is it hard in Philadelphia to find consistently good fried bone-in chicken at a restaurant that is decent and you can sit down and enjoy it? That is hard to find because I've had to go up some people's asses in some of these restaurants. And I'm going to keep it 100. Booker's just started bringing back some bones in their chicken because for a while, Booker's were doing just boneless chicken breasts that were fried. That is cheap and also not a good reflective. You're going to do Southern style cuisine. I need you to really be serious about providing actual chicken with bones in it and having breasts and really getting serious about your batter. Like if you're going to do it, do it. And if you're not, just don't. But stop playing. And I need to get real about the hot sauce. I need you restaurants to have some crystals. Definitely need to have some Louisiana, okay? Louisiana, crystals may be hard to find at places. But I love Louisiana hot sauce. That's my favorite hot sauce. One Drop does it. Okay, you cannot have pepper sauce, tobacco sauce as hot sauce. And stop with the Mexican chula hot sauce. That's not the proper hot sauce to eat on chicken. You know, you eat that with other things, but that is not proper. Okay? Crystals, Louisiana. And that Red Hot's buffalo crap, that is for buffalo wings. That is not for actual fried chicken. Okay, we need to eat this proper. That's why you all don't like this chicken. Y'all understand, because it's not being done right. Now, South, they do have good fried chicken. Okay, like Relish, their chicken is good too. Okay, I'm not throwing shade, but like there's other places out here that need to be serving good fried chicken outside of South. You know, Booker's have committed to doing wings. Cool, but I want to see some breasts and thighs. And these other places, I'm not naming them because they're just not doing it right. No shade. Red Crest. Y'all love talking about Red Crest. Ooh, see how, here I go. Okay. I guess. Could lose a little flavor in that batter. I guess. They swear up and down sometimes. I don't know who run their social media account, but sometimes I'll be doing my food list. They be like, oh, you left us out. No shade. I didn't leave y'all out. I just don't think it's that good. People be like, oh, you forgot me. No, I didn't. I'm just being nice. Because I don't do worst restaurant lists. Y'all not ready for my worst restaurant list. Listen, my feelings be getting hurt. Okay? If you want to know some iconic moments, go back to some of my special edition episodes with the Lip Brothers. There's 2 Lip Brothers specials I did. One at Hard Rock Cafe. We did that one. We did a trip to Baltimore last year. So this is season 7. Season 6 is a special edition episode where we do a live recording at Hard Rock Cafe. Go listen to that episode. And let me tell you something. People got their feelings hurt. And we got so many people DMing us, calling us, hitting us up. Like, y'all don't want our honest reviews about restaurants because feelings be getting hurt. That was one. And then we did an episode in Baltimore. That was season 5. And we were in Baltimore. And we did a special edition episode where we was talking about restaurants and things. And that was like our first duo episode as a duo, as a foursome. It was 4 of us. Listen to that episode. And we also talked about restaurants and people got their feelings hurt. So I try not to do that. I try not to throw shade. But sometimes these restaurants will get a little dip on their chip and then start getting really nasty, acting like we're not doing our due diligence. Let me be very clear. I do my due diligence. I just wasn't feeling it. And if you want to have a sidebar conversation and you want some recommendations, don't come to me publicly because I will address it publicly. You know, hit me up privately. Say, hey, I noticed that you haven't been really, covering us or talking about us. What's up? Okay, let me tell you what's up. You are not consistent. You burn your meat. Your skin be falling off. You don't really have a good batter. The flavoring is off. It's just giving dry. A little sea salt and pepper, you can only do that if you actually buttermilk and massage the chicken and marinate the chicken. You can't just do it with dried chicken breast that's cooked the day of. I don't really know what your process is. It's inconsistent. Keep changing your flavors. Can I just get a simple classic flavor? Everybody can't do Nashville hot chicken. I wish that you would stop playing around with pretzel crust in your batter. What the fuck are you doing over there at, what's that place called? I don't even eat there. What's that place everybody like, I'm literally blanking out on it because Wishbone. I blank out on Wishbone. That is disgusting. That chicken is just horrible. I don't. I'm sorry. Oop, did I say that? Oof, they'll be okay. But like, there's places where, see, if I go in, can you handle it? Now, let me be real with you. There are some restaurants, I will not name names, that they reached out to me. I gave them some real feedback and they were really pressed to have me come back. And I came back and they got their shit together. So I'll say this, and to be very clear, because I don't want no confusion. But if you ever go to my IG, my Instagram, you see me post my food, and I'll say something like, I circled back. not every restaurant that I say I circle back to had this issue. But I will tell you that when I go to restaurants and I say I circle back or I spin the block back, I will say 50% of those restaurants, I'm not going to name which ones, are restaurants that I was not a fan of when I initially went. They felt that and they wanted some feedback, and I gave them feedback, and they wanted me to come back to see what they were doing, what they'd done differently. And I will say that 90% of those restaurants definitely improved and definitely, rose to the occasion. And I was very impressed with what they were doing, and they earned the Ernest, 5-star stamp of approval. So you can earn it, people, but you got to be willing to listen, and you got to be willing to actually do stuff that makes sense for your customers, and listen to your customers, listen to the diners, listen to the community. So, there's always room for improvement, A no from me may not always be a no forever. Sometimes it is, though. But sometimes it isn't. But you just got to be willing to listen to feedback and see what you can do. So shout out to the restaurants that are actually receptive to legitimate, meaningful criticism. Like, I don't want to drag people, y'all. That's why I'm very big on not letting people know what restaurants I don't like, because I might like them. There are some restaurants that I did not like when they first opened. And then a couple of, months later, or maybe a year or so later, they are still open. And I come back and I'm like, wow, y'all really impressed me. I'm a fan. I really like what you all are doing here. I'm going to tell you one restaurant, and I don't want to harp too much on it. Prunella. When Prunella first came out, I didn't understand the purpose of it. I was not impressed. I was just like, Michael Shostin, like him, like his restaurants. But I was like, Prunella just feels corny. I don't understand the purpose of it. I don't know what they're doing. Ugh. Went to Prunella last month. Loved it. Thought it was good. I get it. And I recommend people go. Via La Costa, another one. My LB, he know who he is. We went there. And he didn't even know this, but initially I was not crazy about that restaurant when they first opened. Went last month, was like, we both was sitting there eating like, okay, yeah. I was impressed. Loved it. Was like, wow, this is a great place. So things can change. And so that's why I will never tell you all what I don't like. Now, there are some restaurants that I just feel like is never going to change because they're just so drunk off themselves. And there's this Black-owned restaurant in Old City that's near, that is near, they serve a mix of African, Black food. They don't know what they doing. I'm not going to name them. You all probably know what it is. But they keep trying to expand. I'm dropping more hints. They trying to expand and create other restaurants. And I'm just kind of like, how are you going to have a restaurant expansion when the one you got needs some work itself? But they just keep creating more restaurants. And they got a new fried chicken restaurant right next door. And that fried chicken ain't that good. And everyone's be trying to gas them up. And everybody goes and be like, If you know what I'm talking about, you know. If you don't, you don't. It is okay. I'm not going to drag them too much. All I got to say is if you look at my list of the top 15 best Black-owned restaurants in Philadelphia, they're not on the list. And their team contacted me and, was shocked and mortified because they get pressed all the time and was like, why are we not on the list? Did you know? And I said to them, let me tell you why y'all got me chopped. And I gave them a list. And I will just say they did not receive it well. And they just kind of got defensive and they just didn't care what I had to say. And that's okay. Because, listen, it is what it is. But, okay. But you ain't going to ever hear me utter their name. Did I ever say that? I've said their name before. If you go listen to the special edition episodes, they've been named somewhere else. But I'm not crazy about me. I didn't say their name. Oops, slip. But I just... See, here I go down my rabbit hole. I'm not crazy about Mina's. I'm not. Okay, I said it. I'm not crazy about Mina's. I'm not. I don't get the hype. I don't. I just find it inconsistent. And the prices are crazy sometimes. Their prices are ridiculous. And their service is just up and down. But I'm not even going to go on the service route. The food it's just no groove. The menu has no cohesion. I don't know where I'm at and where I'm going with the food. The bar is lively, but everything is just kind of just up and down. And I feel like spending my money there just feels like an elliptical course. Like it's like I feel like I'm forcing myself to do that versus enjoying doing it. Like there's places that just don't do that to me. I just would rather give my money in other places that just do it well. There's several great Black-owned spots in Philadelphia to support that just does not feel like you're juggling through hoops and dangles to give them your patronage. Like, go to Toast Cafe, baby. It's in West Philly. Like, they have an incredible brunch. Their oxtail and grits are phenomenal. Like, go support them. Go support Cloud Cups. They have great, incredible gelato. You know, there's several great Black-owned places. I mean, South is, of course, iconic, right? But there's other places that just do a good job, that do a better job, that do a more consistent job. And we can support them, you know? Yeah. Okay, so Rex of the Royal, fried chicken is incredible. They have collard greens. They have a really great potato salad. They have a wonderful peach cobbler with the peach ice cream scoop on top. Heaven, divinity, divine. This special is every Friday, Saturday, Sunday at Rex of the Royal. Go there, enjoy it, love it. All right, moving on. Emmy Squared in South Philly, or Passyunk. It's on Passyunk. Love that place. Emmy Squared is a pizza place. They have other places across the country, but their Philadelphia location is just remarkable. Beautiful rooftop situation. Never been to rooftop until this weekend. Mr. Johnson and I went on a cute date night there. I really loved it. The pizza is great. The wings are phenomenal. They have some really great cool cocktails that are chill. Very, very affordable, but good quality. If you're looking for a cute date night at a pizza place that's not Pizzeria Badia, which of course is one of the best pizza places ever, but you want a good quality pizza, you want a good, delicious deep dish with great toppings, you want really, 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 really good wings that are flavorful and not ridiculously large or too small. If you want a really cool feta watermelon, well, that's a burrata watermelon salad that was perfect for the summertime, and you just want good food that will not break the bank, but is fun, go there. You can't make reservations, I believe, on the rooftop, but go to the rooftop. I think there's always space on the rooftop, to be honest. Very spacious. They got an upstairs bar. You could do that. A good romantic rooftop pizza dinner. Lovely. Or a really beautiful indoor high ceiling dinner. That's what Mr. Johnson and I did. Highly recommended. Emmy Squared, y'all, go. Really enjoyed myself there. And for all recommendations of restaurants that I actually like, you can expect posts on my Instagram. Go to my Instagram page, check it out, check out Google reviews. I do reviews on these places as always, but my Instagram will always show you pictures so you can see everything that's there. Because I love pictures and I take all of my pictures, by the way, and that's important. Let me make this point before I get to hot topics, because I know y'all waiting for that. I always take pictures. My pictures are my pictures because I want to be very clear that sometimes when you go to restaurants, right, they'll have a great fancy photographer that will take a picture and the sizes, the toppings are distorted. You know, the height, it makes it look thicker or bigger than what it is. You don't really know what it's going to look like or whatever. I don't believe in that. I believe that people should know where they're going and what they're eating. And so all the pictures you see from me is exactly what it looked like when it was served to me. I don't alter it. I don't put crazy filters on it. Like I want people to know what they're getting. And so that has been effective in how I communicate my photos. Because some people want to do photo shoots and shit, or the media or the PR teams want to give you photos of their food. I don't do that. I take pictures of my own food. And I think that's been essential because people really want to know what it looks like on their plate, or what it looks like, or what it's giving. And I have found it has been the most effective way of promoting and shouting out restaurants. So what you see is what I ate and it went in my stomach before it went in my stomach and went in my belly. So I want people to know that off site, that my pictures are authentic, they're organic, they're from me. So if you see me take a picture or do restaurant reviews on Google stuff, the reason why I am a top Google expert when it comes to restaurants is because Google can verify that my photos are my photos. Like, I'm not stealing them. I'm not putting up professional PR photos, but these are like real authentic photos. And so I've become a real top tier guide for Google. I'm a man of many hats. I do a lot of things. I've realized I'm just always like, damn, when am I not doing something? But Yeah, so that's, I'm a Google expert with reviews and things, and restaurants want me to come out and, I know Keith Lee does what he do, but I'm not gonna be in the back seat or the front seat, passenger side of a car, smacking my lips and doing no, baby. We got a little bit more class here, and I know I'm giving y'all a little sass, but he's got a fan base. I'm not hating. Oh, child. But y'all like it, so I guess I gotta love it. Um, so outside of that, had a lovely Sunday supper. Mr. Johnson and I, he cooked. And my younger brother joined us for dinner. We had a great little time. We also checked out I went to the African American Museum, and they had a savory sweets and savor event that they had at the museum. Lots of cool events coming there. I was there to support my girl, Miss Dawn. She was making some of her iconic sweet treats, and there was savor. It was so weird because my dinner was later in the evening on Sunday, but this event was like 4:00. And so I was like, I really just want to come real quick. And I did. And you all saw the IG love and everything that I did over there. But I was really big on like, I want to go, take a couple of pictures, but not eat too much because I didn't want to ruin dinner. But dinner was fabulous. We had turkey wings and it was, and some good old food, risotto and just, he can cook. Get a man that can cook. I can cook too. We both can cook really well. But it's so nice when you have versatility in the kitchen. Even if you don't have versatility in the bedroom. So if you want to stay in their positions, maybe not. Who knows? I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just being silly. But I love versatility in the kitchen. I just think it's great for folks to be able to be, can be both positions in cooking. Some people can be the chef and some people can be the sous chef. It's beautiful. I like being the sous chef. He can be the top chef. Okay, I'm being specific. Anyway, moving on. Lovely dinner, lovely Sunday supper. It was so much fun. And I love decanting my wine because I love my wine. And it was great wine. And everyone in the house is over 21. Thank goodness. My younger brother turned 21 in March. He's a Pisces. Bear with me, people. And I'm a Libra, and my husband's an Aquarius, so it's just bear with us. But it was great. We had great wine, red wine, and I got to use my decanter, which I haven't used in a while because I've been eating out so much that I haven't been able to really, I have a bunch of red wine. So to some of my friends, emphasis on some of my friends, and keyword friends, because you need to be a friend. If you like red wine, let me know. And if you don't like red wine, it's okay, because I'll keep my red wine. I hate white wine, so don't ask me for white wine. I don't like white wine. But if you do like red wine, I have enough bottles that I will give you a selection of my red wine. Because I have a wine subscription, a red wine subscription that I've had for 4 years. And so I get wine, like bottles of wine. Like I can have a wine celery or whatever. I can have a cellar of wine. I have tons of wine. I have like over 50 bottles of red wine, I think, now in my house right now. It's a mess. And like the last time I was able to use some red wine was I had dinner with Abel and my husband. We went to Apricot Stone, the BYOB in Northern Liberties. And we was able to get some of that red wine, and he liked it. So that's one thing about my bestie Abel. Abel loves red wine. That's how we bonded, actually. I never tell this story, but I'm gonna digress a little bit. When we were college roommates at Penn, and he might remember this story, or maybe he doesn't want me to tell this story. But we've come a long way. This man's on his 3rd Ivy degree, so he has taste in class now. So I'm just gonna tease him. But I think when we first met, we were so opposites. It was like Wicked. I was, I would say he was Alphaba and I was Glinda, the good witch. And he was very studious. He was always a nerd in a good way, a cute nerd, okay? Very smart, always study, will always read. And in our dorm, what I loved was we all had our own individual rooms, but we always had like the living room space. And so I was the Glinda. I was the cool girl. I was always the party animal. I used to always throw pre-games in the dorm and everything. And so he would study Monday through Thursday, but then Friday, Saturday, I would take over the place and throw party. And sometimes he would come out because my friend's a little wild and loud, and Jamarcus remembers this story. Like, we all know Abel. Like, some people just don't understand. Like, I have had relationships, when I tell people that I have friends, these friends, we've been friends for a minute. We can tell stories. It's just hilarious. But Jamarcus was around, and we would go to these parties, and I would make this cocktail. I'm not going to tell you the name of the cocktail because it's a little funny, but it was a cocktail I made with, and everybody remembers this. Anybody who's back in my college years, Nina, Sam, you all know this drink. Amanda, of course, Jess, y'all know this drink. I made this cocktail that is trash as hell. I got to remake it, but it was with berry. It was like a red berry vodka that was from New Amsterdam when they used to have the red, the flavor, the berry, vodka. It would be a red. It would be like a flavored, like red vodka flavor. Now the color wasn't red, but it was like a red berry vodka flavor from New Amsterdam. But it was like that flavor. Then I would use a cranberry juice, and then I will top it off with pink Moscato. And that was a cocktail I had. It was a punch, to be honest. And that was quite the drink. And we used to drink that in college with the red cups. Oh, that was a time, honey. That was a drink. We don't do that anymore. We have class now, but that was an era. But he used to come out and peep in and stick his head up to see what was going on. But I will never forget, I think there was a time where when we first was getting to know each other, because he's younger than me. He was 2 years younger. I was a junior and he was a freshman. I think that's what it was. So he would, at night, I remember we came in one time and he had a coffee mug, and I think he was asleep at the desk in the living room. But Jamarcus saw this little bottle of red wine. He said, "Is that cooking wine?" I think it was cooking wine, but it was like a red wine, but I think it was cooking. That red wine is supposed to be used for cooking. But he had it right next to him. He had his white mug. It was like a Maku mug we all had. And I was like, oh no. And my friend Jamarcus was like, oh no, honey. And you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the scene in The Devil Wears Prada, for those who observe, where Emily, which was the sassy girl that was the deck secretary, she saw Andy and she was with Giselle. And Jamarcus was Giselle. Remember how they were both walking and they saw Andy, which was Anne Hathaway's character, and they looked at her and they looked at her like they were going off to lunch. And they looked at her and was like, is she wearing, where did she get that horrible sweater? But they were just teasing what she had on or whatever. And Andy was looking awkward and they left. And I think there was a follow-up scene where eventually, they get nice to her and they compliment what she's wearing. She upgrades. Something of that nature. Well, the next time I saw it, I said, I'm not going to be shady. I give him a bottle of Barefoot red wine right next to his coffee mug. And I was like, this is how you drink wine. And it was a nice gesture. And I think it opened up our relationship. I don't know if he remembers this story or vividly, but I remember I gave him a personal bottle of red wine. At that time it was Barefoot. Listen, Barefoot is still good in my book. I don't drink it. I've moved up, but for college kids, not so bad. You got to start somewhere. I mean, we've moved up in our taste in red wines, but that was a start. But I remember putting a bottle right next to him with the mug, and I think that was my gesture of opening up a friendship. And we just hit it off and had been besties ever since. So yeah, that just hit me. But it's just stories like that. That was like over 10 years ago, probably like 12, maybe 12 years ago or so, or something like that. But yeah, look where we are now. He's drinking great wine. He's living in New York, New York City, at Columbia, getting a law degree after a master's at Harvard and a bachelor's at Penn. I mean, the guy is just great. So, yeah. So, moving on to these hot topics, because we got a lot to talk about. Let's start with Kamala, okay? Last week, we didn't know what was going to happen, but everybody's going all out for her. And I love to see it. And we're shutting down bullshit. Black men, I'm proud of us. Black women, I mean, you guys are the backdrop of how all this should be. Black women got together and did a call, Win with Black Women. Sunday night, raised over $1 million for her. 40,000 plus Black women got on a Zoom call and they got it together. Who matched their freak? Who matched their nasty? Black men. The next night, Monday night, I was one of 45,000 black men that got on the car and raised over $1.3 million for Kamala Harris. Now, let me be clear. I did not donate because as a journalist, I cannot donate to political campaigns. I have not donated to a political campaign since 2012 for Barack Obama. I have not given money to any other political candidate since then. I can't do it because I covered the race. So I did go on the call to listen and observe, and it was great to hear Win with Black Men, honey. The alphas were in full swing, and others, Kappas and Qs and other folks too. But alphas really took the lead to lead the call. Roland Martin, spearheaded this effort with the other great folks like Bakari Sellers and others. And it was a great call. It was an empowering call. And it was important for us to do that because I'm so sick and tired. And I've seen this. I'm tired of these media pundits and folks out here that is acting like there is this level of black men who don't support black women or don't support politics in the right way. It's bullshit. It's been bullshit. Black men are the second most loyal voting base for the Democratic Party following black women. We got to stop this conversation. Black voters are not the problem. Black voters are on the right side of history. If anything, we want to get more black voters voting because when they do vote, they vote on the right side of history. Let's talk about the stats in the data. 84% of black voters vote for Democrats, okay? And only 8% of black voters are alongside voting for the GOP. That's it, y'all. We ain't worried about no fucking 8%. Don't stop talking to me. Nobody can get 100% of anything. But let me say this. The fact that 8% of black voters go Republican, I mean, clearly somebody's got to do it, right? We ain't the reason, okay? We're not the reason. So we got to stop this. And I'm so happy that black men and women, yet again, started the up people. We got together, we organized, we mobilized, we raised some serious ass money to help Kamala. She is now over $200 million fundraised, okay? For comparison, Barack Obama raised $150 million. She done did over $200 million by herself, and this money is coming to pass week. She is kicking ass and taking names. She is officially the candidate, okay? There will be no brokered stuff. And we're going to talk about who said that, and we're going to check that in a minute. But I just want to state that people came together and mobilized around her. And that is outstanding. Outstanding. And guess who came up and showed up? White women. White Women for Harris showed up later in the week. They got together. Broke records, y'all. I think over 200,000 people on a Zoom call. The biggest Zoom call ever recorded, y'all. Over 200,000 people came out and they raised over $6 million, I believe, for Kamala. Maybe $8 million, but over $6 million they did in numbers. Okay? So the mobilization is real. They're turning these people not only into donors, but volunteers on the campaign. White men for Trump, not Trump. Oh, let me clarify. White men for Harris is coming next. They're about to do their call this upcoming week, but they're getting their shit together. It's happening. It's happening. People are getting together. They're trying to reverse what the fuck has happened in 2016. The rapid response has been inspirational. It's been optimistic. We're less than 100 days away from this election, and the momentum is on. One thing I will say that I'm very happy about is that Democrats this week have shown unity across the board. We cannot deny the level of unity that has been seen. Everybody has coalesced around Kamala. She has enough delegates to secure the nomination. So nobody is pretty much going to run against her at the DNC. Any serious people are not. Everybody has put their support behind her. Every serious, credible elected official that's in the Democratic Party. She's been endorsed by, the senators. She's been endorsed by Congress. She's been endorsed by unions. She's been endorsed by former President Barack Obama. Of course, Biden has backed her. Hillary and Bill Clinton has backed her. She is that girl. She is the nominee. Okay? It's happening. It's happening. And I don't want to hear any other bullshit. It is here. They shut that shit down. Democrats came together and said, Avengers assemble. And the money has come. Like I said to y'all, remember when I told you all that donors had withheld those coins? They didn't release the coins, honey. They didn't release the money. All the money y'all thought was dried up, somehow people woke up and found money. That's what excitement looks like. That's what anticipation looks like. That's what it looks like. So the donors that were worried about Biden said, okay, y'all did what we said. Open sesame, abracadabra, the money has come. I said, where the hell y'all found $200 million from this? Shit. Okay? So she has out fundraised Trump this past month. The campaign is in full motherfucking throttle. I'm excited. I'm fired up. And the money is moneying. And somewhere Trump is petrified. And we're going to talk more about his petrifiedness in a minute. But the money is here, honey. And we ain't even got to white men for Harris yet. So, do it for Doug is what I've been telling people. Hashtag do it for Doug. Doug is the second gentleman, soon to be first gentleman of the United States. Do it for Doug, white men. Do it for yourselves, but do it for Doug. Okay, because Kamala is married to a white man. So y'all got a reason, if y'all did it, that she can relate to you all or understand you all. Because she has to wake up in the morning to a white man in her bed. So she knows y'all issues. She can speak to those issues. She's relatable. I'm just saying. White men, she's relatable. I don't know. I don't know. White men, step up, do the right thing. See, these are the people we need to be talking to. We need to be talking to white men and white women. White women, because y'all was fake as fuck in 2016. Y'all was fake as fuck. Y'all was doing all that. I'm with her, but y'all was really with him. So y'all, we see, white men never fake. White men never played with us. We knew from day one white men were with Trump. They never was fake. But white women, y'all was fake as fuck. Because y'all had Hillary thinking she had a good time. So, over there playing that song. Remember that song, Fight Song? I can't even hear Fight Song anymore. Remember that? This is my fight song. Y'all was out there, white feminists, all of y'all. And then voted for Trump, child. So y'all got some work to do. But it's a good look. That call had Pink was on that call. Connie Britton was on that call. Pink was on there. All abroad and shit. She showed up. It was a lot of white women on there showing up. So, y'all better keep showing up. Okay? But I hear there's other groups. There was black gay men for Harris. I wasn't on that call. I'm not going to throw no shade. I'm not gonna throw shade. I'm not gonna. Nope. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna stay in the positive, Ernest. Stay in the positive. I saw who was on that black gay for Harris call. We gonna all unite and agree for Harris. That's all we got in common. Some people, listen. We gonna come together. Family is gonna be together for Harris. Other things, not so much. But for Harris, we will be. Okay, I got to move on. South Americans are coming out. Caribbeans are coming out for Harris. There's all these calls. Somebody was saying, egomaniacs, of course, on the internet. It's like, I just feel like people copying ideas. Motherfucker, let me tell y'all something. You're not copying. First of all, whoever is saying, people are copying, are you trying to win or are you trying to fucking feel yourself? I think we're going to go with the former, not the latter. It's about winning, people. If people are inspired to create calls to galvanize interests for Kamala and raise money for her, I don't give a fuck what this copying shit is. It's called inspiration because it's a good thing. These are the things you want people to use and be inspired by. If only black women did the call and white women did not, quote unquote, hashtag answer the call, you would have been complaining about the fact that no one stepped up and did something. I think it's a good thing that people are stepping up and doing something and doing it the right way. Yes, go in your respective communities, have the conversations with your people, and raise money and organize and mobilize for somebody that you care about. I like it. I like that there are niche communities talking to each other. We don't need to be all in a room. I think everybody for Harris, no. Because then no. White women need to have their own conversations that us as black people don't need to hear. Black men, we had our conversations, right? And that was for us. We need a space. Sometimes you need to segregate to integrate. Sometimes you need to segregate to integrate. We need to segregate in our respective populations to help Kamala so that we can integrate for the larger movement at the polls. Okay? That's what we got to do. So all these people talking about copying and feelings like, what the fuck do y'all do? Shut that shit up. No, I'm not entertaining that. No, this is the one time where everybody need to be having calls. Okay? Cats seem to be having calls for Kamala. I hear they are after JD Vance's cat comment. Cats seem to be, organizing. Jewish folks are organizing for Kamala. Like, everybody needs to have their respective, coalitions. Because all of us need to have an understanding about why it's important for her to get elected for everybody. So, yeah, I'm here for it. No complaint over here. So let's talk about, now that we know that Kamala is going to be the likely presumptive nominee, VP. Okay, Veep sweeps, as they've been saying online. It's going to be interesting. A week ago, you all heard me. I was giving out early diagnostics. Y'all saw like JB Pritzker. I mean, clearly he's not going to be the nominee, but I did like him. That was my personal like. But it's clear that there, 1 week, and I told you all, these episodes are going to be self-editing itself and evolving every week. So one thing I love is that as you all follow me on this journey by the thousands, it's beautiful that you all are following me on this journey, because we're learning together, and I'm learning a little bit more because I do this for a living. But, some of you all are coming in with some baseline knowledge. But things are evolving and changing. And so some of you, I've seen some of my predictions, my predictions, and have seen my logic. And some of it isn't making sense to you all because you all are not seeing what I'm seeing. So I got to give some insight behind it. But things have definitely rapidly have changed. Okay. And they have to, because we got till August 7th. We will know. Here, let's start off the baseline. We will know who the next VP running mate alongside of Kamala Harris will be on August 7th. Okay? Kamala. Okay? Kamala. Okay? Kamala. For people who've been saying everything, Kamala Harris. Oh, God. Or Kamala. Like the way that Trump be trying to play with her name. But anyway, we will know. Okay? We will find out who's going to be the VP running alongside our current VP. She has said that she wants people with executive experience, a governing relationship. She's, been, I don't want to say vague, but it's pretty general what she's looking for in a running mate. But we also know what running mates have to be as well. They have to be do no harm. Okay. They need to be somebody who, can complement the VP person, can bring some gains to the person, can align with them, but also bring new energy and fever in areas, can win some states, can bring something to the table, can be able to excite the base. I mean, there's all kind of factors that shape the decision-making. From what we're gathering, it seems like we're down to roughly 3 to 4 candidates. That is Tim Walz, who is the governor of Minnesota, who used to be a congressman. We're going to talk about him. We have, Josh Shapiro, who is the governor of Pennsylvania over here in Pennsylvania. We also have Roy Cooper, who is the governor of North Carolina. We have Mark Kelly, who was the senator of Arizona. And we have Andy Beshear, who's the governor of Kentucky. Now, from what I've been hearing, Andy Beshear is not a front runner. The rest of these other guys I named are the ones that's the most in contention. So I'm going to tell you a ranking order of how I feel about these candidates and what I think. So let's get Andy Beshear out the way. I really did like Andy Beshear. I thought Andy Beshear is charming, youngish, fun, cool, nice guy. Kentucky's a red state. He's made some promises there. He's a 2-term governor, will bring some great strength, right? Like Beshear. Think Beshear at this point, the Midwestern energy is being taken up by someone else that's in contention at a higher pace. And there's no real verdict on what really Beshear could really bring too much to her. Turning Kentucky blue might be a little harder than we can imagine. And also, there's just other candidates who are just appearing more stronger. So Andy Beshear, I don't see that for him. But because he's going to finish his second term as a governor, he might get into Harris's cabinet. And that would be nice to see. So Beshear, like him, but don't think he has a chance. Okay. Who's next? Josh Shapiro. I don't think Josh Shapiro is going to get the nomination. And I'm going to tell you why. Josh has a lot of baggage. And I tried to hint at this last week. For those who listened to last week's episode, okay, episode 2 of season 7, I told you all that there are some things about Josh that I knew and I heard about and I've seen that never got a lot of attention, but now stuff is bubbling up and things are coming out, and I just feel like every day there is just more baggage. And a VP candidate has to do no harm, first of all. And second of all, they just cannot look like they're going to try to overshadow the current presidential candidate. So let me tell you all of the things I feel about this man when it comes to this seat and everything with it. And I got so much to say. And I got to be real, because Josh Shapiro is a lot of things. So let me get into it. I talked a little bit about this last week, but now there's been new developments, so I can say some things. First of all, let's talk about Pennsylvania. Everyone keeps saying that, Shapiro can get Pennsylvania blue and we need it to be blue. I don't believe that we need Shapiro to be a VP candidate to make Pennsylvania blue. I don't believe that. Okay, if you actually been following politics, Pennsylvania has been a blue state for several years. The only time it turned red was in 2016 for Trump. But if you look at the Obama era, Obama got Pennsylvania to turn blue, even with Republicans and leadership in the Senate and things. Okay, so let's be very clear. It can be blue. It only turned red when we got Trump in. So Pennsylvania has been going blue. Pennsylvania also has a very strong blue wave than ever before. We have a Democratic governor, which we've had since Governor Wolf. We now have two Democratic senators. We have, Fetterman, and we have Bob Casey. Those are two senators that are Democrats. We also have a Democratic-controlled state house, not a state Senate, but a state house. We also have a Democratic-controlled state Supreme Court. We have a lot of blue love here. If Democrats in Pennsylvania, which we have some good ones, work their asses off to campaign hard for Kamala, they can maintain her being blue, especially with a very good competitive, Senate race for Bob Casey. Bob Casey is going against an asshole, and he can get great moderate conservative votes to vote for him over this David McCormick dude who's a total bad candidate, right? They can get the votes. Shapiro's a good campaigner. He can campaign and get the votes for her in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania can get blue. We'll get there. We're going to go blue. Okay? And he's not going to get the nomination. And when Pennsylvania still remains blue without him being the running mate, you all will thank me later. So the argument that he can get Pennsylvania blue, I don't care. It can be blue without him. Because let's be clear, when Biden was in the race, nobody felt like Shapiro needed to step up, right? So that argument falters for me because I see the stats. Y'all are just reading what national people are saying. Let me say this real quick because I got to talk my shit. National media don't know these local races or these local seats the way that I fucking do. I am here. I see the polls. And I also have been looking at the overall impact of the Democratic Party in Pennsylvania. If you think that this party cannot rally up to make sure this is blue, the suburbs are going to remain blue over the whole Roe v. Wade repeal. It has been increasingly blue over the past 4 years, y'all. Please, Shapiro does not need to be the VP to do that. Second of all, if Shapiro leaves, is Austin Davis at 33 years old as a black man who just really been in politics? He wasn't even a state rep for that long. Let's be very clear. He was only a state rep for roughly a year through a special election and then became the nominee. And now he became lieutenant governor. Talk about a black man who has risen quite fast. He is a rising star in the state Democratic Party, more so than Malcolm Kenyatta, in my opinion. Okay? Because Malcolm Kenyatta hasn't done what Austin Davis has done, which is won a statewide race. I think that it would be a disservice to put him in a position to try to be the lieutenant governor. The next person in line will be a Republican that will then become the lieutenant governor following him. That's messy. And also, too, it would just be very hard. Shapiro needs to stay his ass in Pennsylvania because even though we have been trending blue, if we lose some major strong Democratic faces in the state level, it can disrupt and make us more red in the purple than bluish in the purple. So I don't think Shapiro leaving right now is just smart. I just don't think it's a smart idea. I think Pennsylvania needs to continue to be even bluer. That's kind of how I feel about Georgia. Like Georgia did, they do not have they have a Republican governor, but they now have 2 Democratic senators and have voted blue, right? That's the kind of thing that I feel like Georgia can't lose nobody to leave, right? Because they have the potential that once Brian Kemp is out, there's a chance that they could have a Democratic governor in the next 4 years. And Georgia is getting bluer, y'all, and that's a good thing. So I really think we need to be mindful that we keep certain people at play, period. So I think that's a good look. Yeah, Shapiro's better off staying here. He needs to also finish his term. I mean, he has electoral experience, but I mean, he's only been a governor for roughly, 2 years. I just don't, I think going to the national stage with no national political experience, he hasn't been in DC. He hasn't been there yet. I think that's a lot going on there. So then let's get into the other optics before I get into some of the liabilities. He's super ambitious, and everyone knows that. This man wants to be president. I've always said he would be a better VP than the president, but not in this case, right? If he becomes a VP under Kamala, I don't trust him enough to believe that he's willing to work under a black woman and play second fiddle in that way. I don't trust that he will do it without being overly ambitious. This man has always been strategic. I mean, this is a man who prosecuted a lot of black women Democrats, and basically, really went hard on a lot of them, and and indicted a lot of Democrats, a lot of black women Democrats, for better or for worse, in his pursuit to appeal with the law and order, tough on crime identity he had. He's very aggressive when it comes to his positions. He has evolved on some issues. Initially he supported the death penalty. He doesn't anymore. But he's very ambitious in a way that you don't really want a VP running mate right now, that you got to keep looking over your shoulder, wondering if they going to try to outshine, because they're thinking about their political prospects. Everybody knows Josh Shapiro wants to be president. I just feel like in the VP seat, the kind of VP that Kamala needs right now, she doesn't need someone who has aspirations to be the next president. She needs somebody that can hold it down for her right now and stay loyal and just rock with her, because she needs to be in this seat. And I think she would probably intend to be in the seat for 8 years. I just feel like Shapiro might pull some bullshit because he's not going to want to wait 8 years. And I just don't also know if he has done all this to get to a point to wait. So in some ways, it's risky, because if Kamala loses, he's a part of that VP ticket. Some people might argue that he was a part of losing ticket, and they may not want to see him for president in 4 years. And Kamala probably will not run again. It's obvious if she loses. She's not, but if she did, she's not going to want to run for that. So there could be an opening for him. But he's rolling the dice, because I shout to Wes Moore. Wes Moore wants to be president one day. I mean, he says he doesn't, but I mean, come on. Like, let's be real. Gretchen Whitmer might have aspirations for president, but she's smart enough to know, if I do this or try to do this or put my bid in, that just will mess my chances down the road. So I just also think, for somebody who really wants to be president, why are you playing in this type of game? Because for starters, your ambition is going to get the best of you. Are you really going to be like, I've never seen Shapiro play in a submissive role. And I'm not saying this in a shady way, but like playing in a role where you're going to have to give deference to somebody, especially someone who's of color, especially to a woman. I just have not seen him play in that. Like, everything with him has been front and center. AG, governor, he was a state rep, but for a brief period of time. I just don't see him playing supporting role really well. just from a personality observation, and what in my story I told you all last week, he just does not seem like he likes to share the spotlight. He loves to come and showboat. He loves to be the center of attention. And with a woman who is equally as charismatic and ambitious, I just can see some bumping heads in the green room with them. So I just think he fails on the do no harm. The other thing I will say about him is that there's some liabilities, right? There is a lot of progressives that aggressively do not like him, and for reasons that I think carry some weight. He has been a bad communicator on this issue around what's going on in Gaza. He has really ignited a lot of misperceptions, a lot of bad narratives about certain folks. He has compared protesters to the KKK. He has painted a broad stroke of criticizing protesters, framing them as being anti-Semitic, which is just problematic because, to be clear, not all of these protesters, and I've made this very clear, that are calling for a ceasefire, that is saying that the way in which the Israeli government has acted has been very problematic, that calling those people anti-Semitic, you need to watch your rhetoric, because it can be very easy for someone to paint you as racist for some of the things that you've done and you've said. Now, I'm not one of those people that will call Josh Shapiro racist. Let me just say that. But there could be arguments, if you play down that pick for pick type of infuriation and that type of implying, right? Implying certain things, people can call you racist. I have heard people say that Josh Shapiro has a problem with black women because of the way in which he went after them when he was an AG with some of his prosecutions. I will not say that. I will not call Josh Shapiro racist. I don't think he's a racist. I think that he has a problem with how he communicates with certain communities. I think sometimes he comes off as disingenuous. I can say that. But I'm not going to call that man a racist, right? But if I'm going to be able to hold nuance in not doing that, I think Josh Shapiro lacks that nuance, because he has been very quick to call protesters, black and brown protesters, anti-Semitic. He has been calling people KKK. How dare you? That's like, who are you talking about? Because every person that is protesting against this war and against this behavior is not anti-Semitic and is not the KKK. And so it has put a target on the backs of certain folks in their workspaces and jobs. And he has definitely instigated a lot of unnecessary confusion and problems. And progressives have hated him for that. And some of that critique is warranted. Okay? He has just not been a good communicator on that. And when you listen to Kamala Harris address the issues in Gaza, how she has been very critical of Benjamin Netanyahu, Bibi Netanyahu, who's the prime minister of Israel, the way that she has made it very clear that she will never stop talking about the unnecessary famine and bloodshed of innocent lives in Gaza. She has been very vocal, and I think people have not taken the step to really listen to what she's saying. But she is very... I feel like she's been speaking with conviction. She's been very clear that this is not okay, that the way in which the Israeli government has operated is unacceptable, and that there needs to be a conversation about military arms and a full ceasefire. Oh, she is talking, and people are listening. But she met with him, Biden met with him, and Trump met with him. But the way that Kamala spoke and had her press conference following her meeting, she is dead ass. So I need people to really pay attention and listen, because she is saying the things that need to be said. You know who has not mirrored or have said similar things in the same level of conviction? Josh Shapiro. And so I wonder if they're going to clash on this issue. And I just feel like the way in which there's been ongoing, consistent criticism, they're calling him Genocide Josh. Now, that might be, I think, a little too far-fetched. But the fact that I think Kamala is trying to move past the issue. She's trying to get a ceasefire. She's trying to not let this issue dominate the election campaign. If Josh Shapiro's on that ticket, this will be a consistent thing. And it's not anti-Semitic because he's Jewish. I'm not saying that. Because let's be clear, Kamala has a lot of stances on law enforcement that does not necessarily align with Black Lives Matter, other groups. But that doesn't mean that she's a liability to that front. It's not about his Jewish identity. I don't think that is an issue at all, because this man has been able to win and be elected while being Jewish, the same way that Kamala has been able to as a black woman. So this is not about his identity, okay? Let's be very clear. Let's not do that. But it's about the way in which he has addressed these issues and have been insensitive to people that are potential voters for both Kamala and the Democratic ticket. It is a fair observation, and I stand on business with that. And no, I am not anti-Semitic. And no, I am not, any of those things. Again, you can Google me and know where I've worked and where I've been and everything like that. Child, we're not going to do that with me. Go play with your toys. I'm not the reason. Now, other issues that have come up. There has been conversations that he has swept a sexual harassment allegation that happened when one of his an issue actually, that happened with one of his senior staffers. And that has been now covered by the Daily Beast. Now, this was covered by other publications in Pennsylvania, but a lot of people was talking about it. But people have been asking me, what's been going on with that. And I want to read some of what was said, because it has made headlines in various press, and it has come up. So, Daily Beast reported on this over the weekend that Kamala Harris, VP front runner, accused of sex harassment cover-up. Now, let me explain some of this conversation, because it has been getting press. This sexual harassment that has been talked about is in response to his top legislative liaison, Mike Verb. The Philadelphia Inquirer reported on this. Shapiro's office paid $295,000. Okay, let me read that again. Nearly $300,000 in a settlement to a woman who accused Mike Verb, this top legislative liaison, of sexual harassment. But to be very clear, this man himself did not resign until months later. The Daily Beast did reach out to Shapiro for comment. His office previously declined to comment to the Philadelphia Inquirer. So let me be very clear. There was an allegation of sexual harassment with a woman in your office. You settled for nearly $300,000, which, let me say something. A nearly $300,000 settlement, y'all, that's some serious ass shit. Okay, I ain't never seen a settlement that large coming from a statewide office. So where there was smoke, there was clearly fire, right? There was a settlement. The moment that settlement was going down, this man should have been fired. This man should have been fired immediately. And Shapiro talked so much about, reproductive rights, protecting women's bodies and standing up for women's. But you literally had somebody in your office that was a predator, alleged predator, because remember, this man was not indicted, or anything of that nature, but he was accused. And given the level of the settlement and everything involved, I believe this woman who made this accusation. This man got to stay in this office and resign on his own terms. And we didn't even know until the press broke the news. And Shapiro has not really spoken on this issue. Yeah, that is messy. And I knew about this. I've known about the situation, and that's why I've had my reservations about him. But, at the end of the day, it never came up, because nothing ever pointed to the direction that it was relevant in that regard. I mean, but this has been the talk of the town. Not a good look for Shapiro. Not a good look for leadership. And the Republicans are already writing about it. Fox News have covered it already. This will be something that will continually undermine a lot of the attacks that Kamala has for the right. He can't be there. JD Vance in a debate with him will bring this up and will call him out. It just will just be a shit show. Okay. And that's a problem. The other problem is that Kamala is being supported by school unions. She went to Houston, which is my hometown, and spoke to teachers. Teachers unions are not really feeling Josh Shapiro. I mean, the school voucher situation, his lack of being clear on where he stands on it has been a problem for a while. And I've covered this consistently on Ernestly Speaking, so you know a little bit about Josh Shapiro and e-school vouchers. There's been, speculation allegedly that he wanted to get Jeffrey Yass off his ass. So that's why he was playing up school vouchers in a very kind of indifferent way. There's just been a lot that's been said about him in this regard. And so I do carry a lot of side eye around that. And it has not died down for me. Teachers unions are not caring for him. So he just got a lot of baggage. And that's why I don't think he's going to be the pick. So let's move along. I think that's everything about Shapiro. Yeah, I think that's everything. I just think he just got so much going on. I just don't think Kamala's going to pick him. And honestly, she shouldn't. Stay here, Josh. Stay here. Run for re-election. Keep PA blue. Yeah. Okay, so moving along, you have Mark Kelly. That's my third place pick. A lot of you are like, third place, why? Well, several reasons. For the first reasons is that I don't even necessarily think Mark Kelly wants to be VP. I don't really know if he really wants it. He's been very far distance from the spotlight when it comes to this conversation. He's kind of been not making his rounds on cable news. He hasn't really been trying to go for it. Now, she has a very good relationship with him. But I don't see him. Now, he has a great story. I mean, he's an astronaut. He's married to Gabby Giffords. I mean, he's strong on gun violence prevention. He's a senator from Arizona. He can influence, he can keep Arizona blue. Arizona's already blue, but he can keep it blue, which is necessary. He can influence the Senate race to get 2 U.S. senators outside himself, blue, the other person running. He's got a lot of good flair for him. He's overall, he's good on issues. He's liked a lot. But the two things for me is I don't necessarily know if he really wants it. That there's been, he's been the most distance from the conversations on that front, even though everybody else has been propping him up. There's also a big thing. Labor unions don't care for him. He did not support the PRO Act, which was a pretty big damn deal. While people say he will be good on immigration with her, I do agree that's a big topic and that's a good strength. But I don't know. The coalitions are mixy on him. Unions are a big deal for our for the Democratic Party. I could see attacks on him on the labor front. I can see attacks about him in that regard. I don't know if, given that she needs consensus, labor unions who influence a lot of the work, them not backing him is a major red flag. And I can see there's going to be some concerns there. And I don't know if she's going to be able to swallow that and just rock with him, especially when she has other folks in the play. So then let me move to Cooper, right? Roy Cooper, North Carolina governor. Roy Cooper and her are super close. They go back. They would be cool as a pair together. I think he's cool. I think I can live with him. And I definitely think there's a case could be really made for Roy Cooper. North Carolina, he's a moderate. I can see all of the things pointing for him. North Carolina will be a great state that he can help, build some Southern trust and get some enthusiasm. He's 67. He's been an attorney general. He knows the ropes. So, it would be nice to see him. There's a good case that could be made for him. And he's also the kind of guy who I don't think wants to be president, which is also another thing I like about him is that he could be really good with, falling back. I would say, there's some good things that can happen. He's done a lot of work to help with advancing the causes also for her. So, putting him in the swing states would be helpful. It could shake up the table. And he's a do no harm person. He fits that. He has no controversies. He's not trying to upstage the ticket, which I think is very important. We look at people like JD Vance, we look at Sarah Palin, these people dragging down drag down their people, right? I think he's just pretty good with that. My only concern is that I worry, could he be a Tim Kaine, where he's just a little too dry, I worry about that. You know what I'm saying? There's something to be said for that, yeah. It's a lot of stuff going on. I think about Kelly. Kelly signed on to a pro-labor bill, but that took pressure from progressives. Shapiro got in trouble for supporting the school voucher bill. But he has been, a big right-to-work state. He's avoided many thorny labor issues. I mean, he's got a lot going for him. He's been in office for 4 decades. He's been in the General Assembly for 14, 16 as the Attorney General. He's got long executive leadership. North Carolina Republicans cannot knock him out. And he just looks like he doesn't have any baggage. So I really do like him. I think he's a really good overall guy. But I think he might be a little too boring and not exciting enough. And I don't necessarily think a lot of people, I think Democrats will be fine with him, but I don't know if he can ignite other bases of people to support him. But he's not a bad guy. He's a safe pick. And if she picks him, I think that'll be fine. I will get it. I won't have no problem there. But here's my number 1 pick, and that's Tim Walz. I think Tim Walz is the overall package. I think he's all of the things. He's the governor of Minnesota, okay? But he was a congressman. He has DC experience, but he also has state experience. He's in the Midwest. He can shore up the blue wall. He can get people on board and excited. He is a great liberal voice. He has found success in areas that were not thoughtful. He was a former teacher. He has a great story. He's charming. He doesn't want to upstage Kamala and be the next president of the United States. I think this guy is the kind of person you will love to have as your VP. He's charming. He doesn't have any massive controversy. I haven't heard any bad things. Progressives like him. Teachers unions like him. Labor unions like him. The guy just seems to be a lightning rod on cable. All his cable interviews I've been seeing has been fascinating. I just think he's just the overall best pick. You got the DC experience, Congress, you have executive leadership, you've been a governor, you're in the Midwest, you can shore up the blue wall, you got everything going for you. You got personality, you got charisma, you're exciting, you're gonna help fight Trump, you're gonna get JD Vance in his seat, and you can take on the guys, the white men bullies. I like this man. That's my guy. Tim Walz, final answer. I like him so far. I haven't heard anything bad. I haven't heard any major scandals. I just have not heard anything that just makes me go, ew. Tim Walz, Cooper Walz, those two. Those are the two I'm thinking, in my opinion. I feel like they're just the better options to me. So, let's see if I'm right or wrong. Who knows? Things can change in next week. I came in hype about J.B. Pritzker. He's not a factor. Andy Bashir was catching my attention, but that's kind of faded. So that's where we are right now. Coming into this week, coming into August, that's who my front runners are. I think this is going to be between Walz and Cooper. Walz and Cooper. It's them two. Mark Kelly, he could pull an upset. He could pull an upset. He could pull an upset. I don't want to sleep on him. But those are the 3. And that's why I don't see Shapiro, because Kamala has 3 other people who are equally, if not better than Shapiro, that can take the seat and do well. So why risk it with Shapiro? Pennsylvania is not that. I don't see it. So those are my 3 top picks. It's going to either be Walz, Cooper, or Kelly, in that order. And I always tell people, remember the do no harm rule when it comes to a VP. Because now look where we are with JD Vance. Speaking of VP and do no harm, there has been speculation that Trump might actually replace Vance on his ticket. I would love that. I would love it. I would love chaos in the RNC. I would love chaos because for all of the shits, it would be nice to say, oh, look, y'all switching tickets too. Something in me tells me he's not going to do it because his hoopers won't allow him to. But I don't know. You know, in 2024, anything goes. Anything can happen. So I don't necessarily know if I'm right on that. He might. I mean, there is a strong case for why he should. But the question becomes at that point, who would he replace Vance with? Now, if I was a dirty man on the other side, I would say, if I was to be a strategist, replace JD Vance with Nikki Haley. Okay? Because with Nikki Haley, you're going to calm down a lot of this sexist talk. You're going to be able to tamper down some of the racism. And I say tamper down because the racism is always going to be there. But some of the racism and sexism that Kamala is getting from the GOP, that's got to change if Nikki's on the ticket, right? Nikki's Indian. I've been saying this lately. That have y'all noticed that the Indian identity has been very prevalent throughout this election? You have it within Kamala, who is, partially South Asian. She's Indian and Black. You have JD Vance's wife, who is Indian, and Nikki Haley, who was a prominent contender for the Republican presidential nomination, also Indian of heritage. So you have it. It's a very interesting observation there. But I want to be clear. I want to talk a little bit about this. That's the only person who can replace JD Vance at the last minute. Anybody else would just be crazy. Like, nobody wants Tim Scott. I don't know who else is in the running, but what, the rich white billionaire dude? Who knows? But if he's going to replace JD, he has to pick someone better. And honestly, I don't think Nikki Haley wants it. I think Nikki Haley is banking on Trump losing, which is a good bet. A good bet. I'll give Nikki that. She's banking on Trump losing. She does not want to support his endeavors because if she gets on this ticket with him, that's political suicide for her. So I can see her staying out and letting him fail because her party fucked her over. Let's be clear. The Republicans really could have had a stronger chance of winning with her than him. And they didn't. They just let the sexism and racism get the best of them. If Kamala wins, I can see in 2028 Nikki Haley being the other brown woman in the race, right? As an alternative. I think the Republican Party strategically is genius. If I was Nikki Haley, I would be sitting the fuck down, eating popcorn, watching this shit implode. It's genius. If I was Nikki Haley, I bet you I think she wants Kamala to win. I'm going to give y'all a wild ass opinion. I think Nikki Haley wants Kamala to win. And if I was Nikki Haley, I would want Kamala to win. Because the reality is that she will have a chance to get on the ticket in 2000. Because if Trump loses this election, okay, the Republican Party, once and for small, will have to get rid of Trumpism. MAGA would have been defeated politically. Like the MAGA, they have done this shit for how many fucking times? 2016, 2020, 2024. They can't come into 2028 with this same shit. This shit dies after Trump loses once and for all. And the Republican Party will have to do a whole new makeover. Marjorie will have to go. Lauren Boebert, all of them, they're going to fade out. They're going to get primaried heavy. They're going to knock them out in the midterms, right? I can see that. But I can see Nikki Haley being the one to say, I told y'all so. If America was willing to vote for a Black Indian woman, they would have been willing to vote for an Indian Republican woman like me. Hell, her supporters are going Nikki Haley for Harris. They don't want Trump. They're never Trump supporters. And Nikki Haley has been preaching this gospel for several months. And, she's a flip-flopper. She's with Trump because she needs to look like she supports her party. But I bet you she's sitting back and she's allowing them to implode. And the reality is the only person that can help save Trump's ticket would be Nikki Haley. The problem is, well, there's one option here. Logically, if Trump wins and Nikki Haley's on the ticket, because Trump has a one term, he will only have one term left as president because you can only serve 2 terms. Democracy tells us that she would then be able to run again now that he will be lame duck and take the throne. Problem is, several things wrong with that. Trump has already made it clear in front of Christians, making statements like, if you vote for me, you'll never have to vote again. I hope that more media attention draws on this, but he recently said that they'll never have to vote again. I'm sorry, we vote every 4 years, every 2 years. What are you talking about, never have to vote again? What are you talking about? He is saying the quiet part are allowed. Translation, this man wants a dictatorship immediately. This man has been in bed and entertaining this shit for years. This man is telling us that democracy as we know it will not exist under his presidency. I'm not playing no games with him. I'm not about to try to explain him or over-explain him. The man said what he said. That means this man does not believe in democracies and voting. And if he's elected, he's trying to call for the end of elections is what he's implying. It's his ass to have to clarify that, not me. I'm not giving him any leg room on that. I don't believe anything. I don't play those games with Trump. Project 2025 has taught us that. 900 pages, y'all, wake up, right? So what I'm realizing from Trump saying that is that Nikki Haley cannot have Trump be elected because he will change laws, rules, and all kind of bullshit with the Supreme Court that will put him in a position that it will probably be no chance for Nikki to even win. So she needs Kamala to win. And I think she would try to make a strong argument against Kamala. And so her chances for presidency benefits on a Kamala win, because then she can tell her Republicans they were wrong the whole time, and they will have to contest their sexism and racism in ways they never had to. And they might get bold enough finally to put a person of color and a woman in a presidential conversation. Sarah Palin was the woman VP, but we need a woman presidential nominee for the Republicans. And Nikki Haley could do it if Kamala wins. So if I was Nikki, I wouldn't run. I wouldn't take the offer. Which makes me go back to my point. Who the fuck wants to work alongside Trump? I don't think anybody really do. Anyone who does, they're not going to bring any value to him in the way that he thinks he needs value. So I'm very skeptical about the likelihood of any changes in that forefront. Period. That's my prediction on that. JD Vance has been a shit show. I mean, it's just been a nightmare. I thought that he was going to steal the spotlight from Trump. I was right about that, but for all the wrong reasons. His comments are asinine. They're sexist. They're racist. He's giving Trump a run for his money in most clever misogynoir statements ever given by a presidential VP candidate. I mean, everybody is cringing in their seats. Every day there's cringe. But even more interesting, the hypocrisy about him keeps coming out. JD Vance had a transgender friend in which he said he hated the police and he was pro-Black Lives Matter. And he was very critical of the Republicans and Trump. And it seemed like this man has become the very person that he argued about in Hillbilly Elegy. Like, he really is the person that everybody thought his book was about, all these Appalachian lies. But his book talked about how folks in his small town became Trump supporters. And he always framed himself as being smarter than them in that regard. But it's interesting how he has become those very people, indoctrinated like in that way. And I think he does it for grift more than actual common sense. But it's been rough for him. Now everybody's flip-flopping on whether they're going to debate, Harris and a VP person, whoever her pick is. It's been a lot of, and I know this is hard for Trump because Trump really was not prepared for Kamala. I think the decisions he made, everything from his VP pick to everything, well played, Joe Biden. Well played. I got to say that. Joe Biden, well played. Okay, a GOAT. That's GOAT behavior. Because waiting for the RNC to wrap up, for him to drop out was strategy. I mean, I believe that he struggled with it, but there's a part of me that also wonders in my mind if he realized that if there was ever a time to do it, it would be now. So strategic. Because now RNC's over. The TV, the narratives, everything they painted is over. So now it's attack mode. And yeah, JD is not ready for this. JD is not ready. JD is not ready for the spotlight. And he's trying to combat everything. And I'm just sitting here like, I don't think you're ready for this jelly. I don't think you're ready for this jelly. I don't think you're ready for it. Cause, yeah, I don't see it happening. So, that's where I'm at with it. Period. Period. Goodness. Why, JD? I don't think people understand. Listen, that's why I won't run for office. Because if I ran for office, y'all, they're going to pull up all my receipts. They're going to be like, remember when he said, fuck this elected official in this podcast episode, child? No, I have no interest in politics. I don't. Because my politics are so complicated and I be talking my shit and I don't want to censor myself and I don't want to censor myself. I don't want to clean up anything. I'm happy with where I stand on the issues and I'm not about to change anything on my positioning to adjust to the crowd. I love what I say. I love my beliefs. I like evolving. I like to change my thinking, and I ain't got time to be trying to moderate myself for the masses. So when y'all be like, "Ooh, when you gonna run for office?" The answer is never, unless the world changed on politics. Unless the world just changed, and I was in a space where people was just doing some major things. I can see that, but I ain't for the shits. I ain't for the shits. For real. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm not for the shits. To be real with you. Because some of y'all be out here talking all that rah-rah, and I just be looking at some of y'all like, okay, that's cute. Because I just be telling people. Y'all don't want me for office. I'll be fun though. I'll be fun. Catch me in debate. I say whatever. I'll be ready to fight. I'll be like, so I see these words moving, but what about them hands though? Mr. Owens. I would just be having fun with the people. I just would say that. I would just say that. So moving along, because this is an interesting part about this talk. Remember a couple of weeks ago, on this show, I told you all some tea that was a little secret for only us and us alone. And that tea I told you all was that the Working Families Party was going to endorse Joe Biden for president. And it was a big deal. And a lot of you all were like, no, they're not. No. But I had good sources, baby. Okay, I got sources from the House. I knew that endorsement was coming. But then when Joe Biden dropped out, I was kind of concerned of like, well, what are they going to do? It only makes sense, logic, to get behind Kamala. And they did. The Working Families Party, okay, nationally, have officially endorsed Kamala Harris for president. Smart. A smart move. A bombshell move. I'm here for it. Hell yeah. And it makes a lot of sense. And so their rationale for it was that they made a really good point. The larger point is that the Working Families Party, they're a third party, but they're also a movement, right? And they've been successful in Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia is one of the most successful cities, to be honest, and really getting their people elected. But they recognize that they get their people elected in cities that are Democratic, cities that are liberal, and that if you want to build power, you have to be in a neutral space of common ground. And the way to only do that is if you're with a person, a candidate that nationally can win, but also will not set the movement too far back. They realize that a Kamala Harris presidency will ensure an opportunity for them to continue to build power on the ground. Okay? Strategic. I haven't heard progressives be this damn strategic in years. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. So they're not entertaining third-party candidates. Okay? Jill Stein, baby, go sit down. They're not doing that because they recognize that they got to build these relationships. And let me say that this is so smart because it's going to shut up a lot of conversations I've been hearing in Philadelphia against WFP. For a long time, there has seemed to be within liberal and progressive spaces amongst Democrats with progressives that, Democrats, moderates, whomever, liberals, whatever, they don't like progressives because they feel like they cannot trust progressives. Because every time, they have local races, Democrats, right, show up. Okay, liberals, moderates will show up and support a progressive candidate and the progressive candidate will win. But then when there's national elections where their people are not on the ballot, then they are complete, killjoys. They're assholes. They fuck shit up and then they cost seats, right? We saw this in 2016 when Bernie Sanders did not get the presidential nomination. You had these people talking about they weren't going to vote, and some of them even voted for Trump, and some of them just didn't vote at all as protest votes, and it cost Hillary Clinton the election. Okay, we've seen this, and I think the reputation of third party has been hard. It's been hard for third party to get, especially parties like the Working Families Party, to get support because oftentimes they either stay out of national races or they endorse candidates. They don't support the leading candidate. And so they've been weak because they voted on ideology without strategy. And so this move is that I know in a perfect world, they probably would have not supported Kamala, but it's not a primary. It's not a primary. This is a general election. And they got to show up and mobilize to get Kamala elected because they got to build power. Power is never given, it's taken, or it can be built. And they're doing it the right way. And so a lot of Democrats across the country and across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania specifically are going to remember this for years to come. That when it was time to get Kamala elected for president, Working Families Party was on the ground doing the favor. And so now we can see reciprocity within the Working Family Party movement in addition to the work being done by Democrats, right? That people can't say, where are the Working Family Party when we need them? Well, they're showing up. We need them and they're showing up. They're coming out. They're putting the shit aside and they're looking at the bigger fucking picture. Which brings me to my big point about progressives. I don't know what the fuck y'all doing, but y'all better get information or y'all are going to be in total damnation. Okay? I don't know what the fuck progressives outside of WFP is doing, but this shit is crazy. When I say y'all eat y'all own, y'all eat y'all own. What y'all are doing at AOC in New York is disgusting. The Democratic Socialists, what the fuck are y'all doing, you chaos agents? What do y'all want? Because you're clearly not trying to play politics. Y'all are on some anarchist suicide mission. Okay, I don't know what y'all doing, but y'all need to get real. And so I have some things I want to say that I haven't really been able to say anywhere else, but this is what the podcast is for. If you are a progressive calling for people not to vote, please exit the chat the fuck now. I had to unfollow somebody recently because when I badgered them, they were talking shit about Kamala. Fine, okay. But my question became, who are you voting for? And are you voting? And when I got to that point, they kept skipping it. So I'm like, you're not playing to vote. You're one of these crazy folks that want to do protest votes. Okay, we're not talking then. I'm sorry, but I come from the school of if you are not talking about electoral politics and movement you're not talking at all. Harm reduction matters. You can vote for harm reduction because at the end of the day, if you think both of them are going to create harm, sure, okay, won't debate you on that. But let's talk about harm reduction. A Trump presidency will create more harm than a Harris presidency. And if you think that's not true, you're being insolently dishonest and you're being an asshole. I'm sorry. I gotta go nasty. I gotta go low. The days of Michelle Obama's when they go low, go out, baby, that's a low. We did that. Once Trump got elected, I'm sorry, we gotta go low sometimes. And I'm gonna go 6 feet under with you motherfuckers. No. Y'all are a piece of shit. If you're not voting in this election on some protest vote shit and you think that's going to make the movement better, if you think it's going to make politics change for good, you are a liar, you are a phony, and you are a fake. And I can't say it nicer. I want to make it very clear. Re-record it, share it to your progressive friends. Tell your friends that want to argue. You can argue me all day, but baby, I'm a black queer man living in a purple state. And if you try this shit in Pennsylvania and you cost me gay marriage, I will fuck you up. Dead ass. If you set Roe v. Wade back for more women, I will fuck you up. If you infringe upon DEI, I will fuck you up. The stakes are too high. I don't have time. I can't afford a fucking Trump presidency, Mark Lamont Hill. I can't fight in revolution and vote for Jill Stein. Okay? I can't do that. I can't do that because I know that Jill Stein will never fucking win. You know why? Because the only time y'all talk about Jill Stein is every fucking 4 years. Where is Jill Stein in 2023? Where was she in 2022? Where was she in 2021? I don't see her until every 4 years. Y'all are unserious about Jill Stein. Let it go. Okay? If you were serious about national elections and presidential elections, you all would be putting a person up and campaigning them for 4 years rather than every 4 years with the same excuses. I don't want to hear it. I don't fucking want to hear it. You're not serious, Mark. You're not serious. Anybody that's talking about something, I'm going to morally, on my morals, vote third party. I am, my conscience can't vote. Shut the fuck up. You make decisions every day in your life that compromises your principles and ideology. Hell, you do it. Okay? You participate in gross capitalism. You sit around and you partake. You cannot blame Black and brown people that have to find survival in a system that purposely makes them have to make these decisions. What fucking planet are you living on? There's a lot of things we ain't supposed to be quote unquote doing based on what our political ethos is. But we are forced to in this system. So all this purity politics shit is for the birds. And everyone's tired of hearing it. All this judgmentalness. How can you vote for Kamala? That's what y'all say. That's how y'all say it just like that. Y'all say Kamala. Y'all say Kamala. How can you vote for her? She's a cop. Shut the fuck up. Because you all will call the police in a heartbeat. You all will get scared in your gentrified neighborhoods if police presence are not at events. Please, shut up. Shut up. You all vote local elections and vote for people with problems all day. All these people got issues. Stop it. Stop doing it. And it's so funny how I look at Bernie Sanders, right? Who have all this smoke for Hillary and had this smoke for Kamala. You know, they always cherry pick who they want to give heat to. Please. Don't want to hear that. And so it's a lot of bullshit, right? So I hear the conversation around Gaza and these people are like, I'm going to do a protest vote for Gaza. How is that really helping the Palestinian people? Because if you don't vote, let's be very clear. If people don't show up to the polls and vote, Donald Trump is going to win. Let's be very clear. Donald Trump is going to win. So you are choosing to give Donald Trump an advantage. How is giving Donald Trump an advantage going to be beneficial for the Palestinian people? Between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, there's only one candidate out of the two of them who have called for a ceasefire, and that is Kamala Harris.
Donald Trump does not want a ceasefire. Donald Trump would love to keep this war going. Donald Trump is xenophobic. Donald Trump does not like Muslims. Donald Trump has an issue with Arabs. Donald Trump would want Gaza wiped off the fucking map. And if you let this man have the White House, that's exactly what he's going to do. I know the Democrats have not been the best on this issue, but you know what? I think Kamala wants a chance to get shit right with the ability to be in an executive office position, to be the president. I think she will do some different things, and I think she will be far, far, far different than what we would get with Trump. You ought to be, I just need us to be better. I just want us to do better. And I just need progressives to get with the program and stop these stunts. Okay. So yeah, third party is not happening. No voting is not happening. To do those things is to basically set everyone back. And so here's my thing. Vote, right? Vote for her and then do other things. And I just want people to know, activists to know, that electoral politics is a very important part of movement building and building power. You got to do everything. It's a tool in our arsenal. The fact that we still have the right to vote means something. And I'm sorry, but I have become very big on that. Too many people have died and sacrificed to be able to do that. For us to have this right to vote. And if you choose not to vote, act like you're making a protest vote, then what do you really want? Do you just want to die? Have you given up? Are you so hopeless that you're just ready for everything to just collapse because you just have given up? Well, that's a selfish thing to have. And it's also it's not movement. It's not progressive. Like, progressives mean moving things forward. If you're not voting, how are you moving things forward? You're saying things back. If you're voting third party, you're doing so. And so let me say something that has been very clear to me in these conversations. When I look at the people who are talking about they're not voting or voting third party, they're cowards, because they're doing it under the guise of, most of these people live in blue states where they predict that, we're going to be fine. That there's enough people that I'm good in my blue state. I can do the protest, but I can perform. But I wonder, if you lived in a red state, would you be so quick to do the same thing? And I think that's the thing that's interesting to me, is that when I look at my upbringing, like, I grew up in Houston and Arkansas. I spent my summers in Arkansas. I spent my life, my childhood years in Houston, Texas. You know, what is progressive or what's not has been relative. Like, when I think about people that live back home, they hear that, they think Kamala is very progressive, just on the way that she talks about issues and things. But when I'm in Philly, everybody looks at Kamala like, oh, she's super moderate. Like, it's very interesting, like, depending on who you talk to. And I just feel like this small minority of these very fringy, far left Democrats, types, or even third party, whatever, they are never pleased. Nothing ever appeals to them. They don't like anything. Like, it's always something wrong. And I get it, right? But at the certain point is, how do you build relationships or think that this is going to work? Do you really, how do you think any of this is going to move? Like, if you really understand politics and you're actually trying to play into the electoral game and influence elections, how do you actually expect to get there if you don't already have a lead? You don't have any money, right? You're not coming in this with big money to shape your outlook. You don't know how to organize and fundraise for campaigns, because everything is going towards other causes, which is great. But it's also like, you want to enter the political game with no strategy, no skill, no ground game, no long game. I don't understand, how do you expect to win? Because you can, right? People have won. Third party candidates have won in Philadelphia. Working families and progressives have won. But this shit I'm hearing from people, I'm just like, y'all don't even know what y'all talking about. And it's just stupidity. And as somebody who, I view myself as a progressive, I'm a pragmatic progressive, because let me be very clear, I'm not about to act like I don't know what the other shit is, but I'm pragmatic with my progressiveness. But to be clear, I'm looking at y'all like, have y'all missed the plot? I thought being a progressive was about advancing opportunities, resources for marginalized communities, advancing rights that will help labor, will help workers, the working class, the population of folks that are struggling, right? Working class people,
folks that's in the margins, addressing poverty, fixing criminal justice beyond just reform, maybe abolition, but we can do reform and then get to abolition. But I thought that that's what we was about. This shit is become about something else. I'm seeing egomaniacs right now. I'm seeing folks that got these huge ass egos that just think they can, that just want to throw everything down the drain. And this logic of we need to resist. What the fuck does resist mean in the era of Trump? Oh, we're going to resist the party, the Democrats, and we're going to show them we're not going to vote. And maybe they're going to learn from this, and then come to their senses. You all tried that in 2016, and actually what ended up happening is that you thought it was going to make Hillary a better candidate, but instead she just lost because you all just didn't vote. And you got to remember that the Democratic Party is a big tent. So if you think you're going to get your way as a small minority, how about if you built power and took up a larger size of the population and sway people over more, you might become the face. But you can't be that way if you're just going to keep knocking everyone down and even insulting. I always tell people you can't be progressive and be for the people and hate the people. You consistently badger Democrats, but you forget that most of the black women and black men and queer people that you are claiming you're advocating for are actually more aligned with Democratic moderately liberal views than your extreme fringe far left views that have not been fully fleshed out. So how are you giving those people grace? Because isn't that the whole conversation of progressive movements, to give people grace? Where's the grace? Where's the common ground? Where's the solidarity? Because now you guys are acting like tyrants. You're acting like the far right. And we see the far right has dominated the Republican Party in a way that they forced everyone to submission. And guess what? They have no fucking game plan or agenda. Or maybe the agenda they have is so fucking extreme, it's going to kill everybody. This whole logic of we're going to protest and withhold our vote as a way to think that you're going to force an agenda change. Newsflash, a lot of people within your own quarters don't even agree with you. And you've gotten so polarizing and alienating that the movement that you claim to be for everybody is becoming super white and super privileged, super college educated, super blue state. I mean, have y'all noticed that? Like, you know why Working Family Party is backing Kamala, right? Because they need to diversify their coalition. They need to have more like-minded black and brown liberals that are going to, number one, feel comfortable being aligned with them, but also attract more people to their party. I've heard more people that I've never imagined showing interest in Working Family Party because of the fact that they've endorsed Kamala. What a smart move. Because if they just tried to back a third-party candidate at the last minute or sell out the race, how are you building a bigger support system? Exactly. So, again, I'm thinking about the larger game here. Most of the people I'm seeing that are talking all this shit live in blue states. They're college educated. Most of them are white. And they all come from a level of privilege that allows them to afford, or they think they can afford, a Trump presidency. But I'm thinking about the liberals in red states. I'm thinking about the folks who are being hit the hardest by Trump. Because let's be clear, not all states are experiencing Trump the same way. You know, because Democrats are very dominating in Pennsylvania, we have not seen a lot of the crazy legislation that we've seen in places like Alabama, places like Louisiana, you know, Florida. You know, we've seen, we haven't experienced that in Pennsylvania or New York or Maryland, right? We haven't experienced that level of crazy anti-trans policies, crazy Roe v. Wade attacks. You know, we haven't seen it at that level. There's been some, right? But we haven't seen it at that massive level compared to those people. What do you say to those people when you decide not to vote? Why are you not advocating to make sure those people are safe? Our most vulnerable and the most marginalized, racist, sexist states. Like, what are we doing here? And that's the kind of stuff that I'm thinking about, you know, when I'm thinking about these elections. My family and friends in Texas and Arkansas, right? They need us to fight for them. They need us to turn some of these purple states blue. They need us to really put money and fundraise hard for Kamala. Like, they're giving money too, but they need us to be smarter, to work harder, to advocate for them. So do it for those people who don't have the luxury to be in a city that, you know, allows women to be able to have the right to choose without any real consequences. Do it for folks that don't have serious protections for LGBTQI people beyond marriage, because that was in the Supreme Court. Do it for those people, because do it for the people who can't even get good books at libraries, that have to deal with book bans. Do it for the people who are experiencing the DEI bans in their colleges and universities faster than our liberal schools down here in the Northeast are. Like, there's just so many challenges. And some of the stuff I'm hearing from folks, I mean, the privilege is just coming out of your mouth. You really think everybody thinks of these cans the same way you do? You think that everybody all across America think that Kamala is some lackluster moderate that's not radical? Newsflash, there's people across the country that think she's too progressive. They're worried about her winning because they think she's too progressive compared to Biden. I can see that. But I find it interesting because folks are out here in Philadelphia and in New York and you know, in places like that, right? That's like, she's just so conservative. She's a neo. And I'm just like, do y'all really, like, it shows that y'all have never been around the world. Or, I'm sorry, been around the US. Have never really went and traveled, you know. And don't tell me about New Orleans. You went there for food. But have you actually talked to people that live in New Orleans, that live in the West Bank, that live out there in St. Bernard? Have you been around other parts of New Orleans that's not just, you know, the square or the French Quarter? You know, have you really been out there beyond Bourbon Street and understood what kind of shit they go through? Okay. So I don't want to hear that shit. I really don't. I don't. And you can tell I've had some conversations because I'm tired of it. And I'm also going to talk about this briefly, but you all probably know I went viral last week. I've been viral a lot this week, but went viral about a post I made about media doing better around Black men. There was a list of Black men I told them not to have on their show. You know, Van Jones, Charlemagne the God, Tariq Nasheed, a couple of people. And there were some people that were like, who's Tariq Nasheed? And I kind of was like, if you don't know who he is, you're blessed to not know who he is. Tariq Nasheed is a man who is very anti-Black. He's xenophobic within the African diaspora. He's one of those ADOS people, African descendants of, you know, whatever it is. He's American descendants of slavery. I think that's what they ADOS. He's, you know, very, you know, just, you know, anti-Black women. There's a lot of misogynoir in his rhetoric, his logic. He plays like he's Pan-African, but he's a clown. And he's just terrible. So Tariq, you know, saw my tweet, of course, and, you know, his supporters and everything. And he called me a super sassy Sambo, is what he called me, and said that I was working alongside the DNC to push out these very anti-Black man stances. And then he called me all kinds of other homophobic nicknames and things. And all I gotta say to Tariq Nasheed is, darling, the level of energy that you put in saying my name and coming up with these nicknames for me, how obsessed you are with my sexuality when I don't lean in my sexuality and what my critique was, but the fact that you even did your research to acknowledge the name that I'm married to a man, it's flattering that you're so invested in my sexuality and talking about my, body parts in certain types of ways and having these freaky deaky, you're a freaky ass 6'9" God. I mean, just obviously that you're a freak bull. And, I'm not here to be your fantasy. I'm not. And it's fascinating how obsessed you are with my, whatever you assume my sexual positionality is. The homoeroticism is just enthralling to me because it's like, it's like, wow, that's what you thought about when you looked me up. Like, these are the things that came to your mind. And, I just cannot get enough of the super sassy Sambo. And let me just say this real quick. White people, please do not say this word. And please do not say any of this and don't even reference this and don't even have the word come out your mouth. I just want to be very clear. White people don't say that word. Look up the word Sambo. Don't repeat the word. Don't say the word to black people. Don't say it around black people. We don't use that. Just want to just put a disclaimer there. Don't do that. Black folks that know this shit. Isn't that ridiculous that he said that? It is very ridiculous. But Tariq Nasheed be out there in Georgia, around Atlanta, Godspeed, my brother. That's what I want to say. Do you, baby. Do you. Don't do me. I am not the reason. I am not the reason. Okay? There's just, if he was so relevant, like really important, and he was a real fucking factor in this election, baby, the receipts. But as Taylor Swift once said, the trash takes itself out. And so I'm just going to let that take itself out. Moving along. I do want to take a moment to just say that Philadelphia has been showing its ass. A couple people have been showing their ass because I want to backpedal real quick. This week has been an interesting week for Black Lives Matter, for ways that are good and for bad. First off, I want to say her name, Sonia Massey, who, was killed by a woman in Illinois. Killed by an officer in Illinois, who just straight up shot her in the face. She called the police, and you know how I feel about calling the police, because in this case she called the police, and the police came after her and shot her. She was unarmed. She didn't have a gun. She was not a threat. And the way in which they went about her was horrible, disgusting. And that officer, I hope he's found guilty. I hope he's yeah, they gotta go. They gotta go, period. And I hope well for her family. I do believe she's going to get justice. Let's keep her. Let's not forget her. Sonia Massey. Say her name. And that officer who has had a horrible record, who murdered her, because that's what it is, it's murder. I hope he is given all of the fullest levels of accountability. Yeah. So, speaking about Black Lives Matter, their national team or whatever has been calling the Dems a party of hypocrites for quote unquote installing Harris, and says there's been no public voting process. They want to have a virtual primary. They want there to be a more open election for more transparency. Fuck out of here with that. I'm sorry. I don't agree with that at all. Let me be very clear, and I don't want to go in a circle, but when voters voted during the, I don't know, what is that called? The primaries, and she was on that ballot, we voted for her because we knew that if Biden was not it, she would follow up. That's what it means to vote for a running mate. And so the fact that Biden dropped out, it makes sense that support has come for Kamala to be next in line, because that's how it was going to be if Biden would have got elected and heaven forbid something happened to him. Like, I don't understand, if y'all know how elections work. To try to create a competitive DNC or entertain that shit. Let's be clear about democracy. Kamala could still be challenged. People can run against her. You're talking about being installed. She's not installed. People decide to unify behind her. Let's be very clear. DNC candidates have a deadline. They can still run against Kamala. The DNC is still, quote unquote, open. There have been delegates that have committed to her, but let's be very clear. They can commit to anybody else. They just don't want to because they like her. You ever thought about that? BLM, like, they like Kamala. Like, everybody wants her. People have endorsed her. At the end of the day, who are these candidates that you're talking about? Because every candidate that thought about wanting to be for president has gotten behind her. So I don't understand what you're talking about. Do you know who delegates are? Do you know how this shit works? Like, I'm not here for this open DNC. It is technically open. Anybody could run for the damn thing. The problem is that nobody wants to. And if they do, they can, but they won't win. So I don't understand what you're meaning. Kamala still has to get the votes come August. Like, she still has to get all that. She has what is called proposed, guaranteed, I don't know if the word is guaranteed, but people have committed delegates, right? That have committed to supporting her. They have to still cast them, right? So what are you talking about? Do you even know what you're talking about? Like, you're talking about hypocrites around democracy. You don't want to talk about hypocrites and transparency, baby. What happened to those millions of dollars that you all got from us, right? And let me be very clear. You bought mansions, you bought properties, you hooked family members up. Like, let's not do that, baby. Because we forgot about that. We ain't forget about that transparency lack. And you all were talking about grace, right? Oh, grace. And people make mistakes and all this shit, right? Oh. But what y'all doing right here with this DNC? Shut the fuck up. Like, seriously. Like, be quiet. Like, you all are chaos agents and grifters at this point. You know, and I say this to the progressives about raising money. You know, there's been a lot of shade about, oh, look at all these people raising money for Kamala. What about raising money for mutual aid? Some of us actually do give money in mutual aid. Let's be very clear. Okay? I actually don't donate to political campaigns because I'm a political journalist. I actually give my money to mutual aids and causes all the damn time. But you know what's funny and what's interesting to me is that you telling people what to do with their money as if they may not be doing other things with it. But let's also be clear that just because somebody don't want to give money to your cause, don't mean they're not giving money to other causes. Maybe they just don't like you. Maybe they just don't believe in your mission. Maybe they don't trust the way that you're fundraising your money. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why people don't support things. But people have also given millions upon millions of Black Lives Matter during 2020. And what did y'all do with that money? Oh, okay. So don't talk about hypocrites. Don't talk about hypocrisy with me. Because I'm very much aware of what's going on. And also to the progressives, right? If you don't want to fundraise for Kamala, whatever. But y'all not even supporting the progressives in the seats that are currently vulnerable. Y'all let Jamal Bowman just lose. Y'all didn't even come out and really raise money for him and get together and organize a call to get Jamal Bowman some serious money so he can stay in his race. Neither did y'all really help him and save him from himself in his loss. Cori Bush, you know, the other member of the squad, the other Black woman who might actually lose her seat. She's vulnerable right now. There's a really great challenger going against her, and she could lose. Where is the money for her? Where's the fundraisers to support her? All this, y'all on Twitter shitting on Democrats all day, but where is the money to support the people y'all like? Oh, that's right. Cori Bush is a Democrat. But she's you guys' Democrat. She's the one that you all wanted for the seat. Why are you all not helping her right now? Like I said, the hypocrisy is real. I'm seeing a lot of hypocrisy. I'm seeing a lot of hypocrisy. I'm seeing a lot of people say one thing and not do another. You know? Where's the money? Where's the fundraising? Where's the strategy? I'm not seeing it. Just saying. So, outside of that, Philly has been showing out lately. They've been showing up for Shapiro. I've been like, whatever, to the bullshit. I just feel like everybody want to show up for Shapiro. Everybody want to, do this. And I'm just like, are y'all not reading the room? And I feel like with Democrats in Philly, they do this all the time where every 4 years when we get this national camera and this national spotlight, we show our ass and we act crazy and we get brand new. I just want people to know that once this Shapiro circus goes away in 2 weeks, I need y'all to still keep that same energy for whoever her VP is. And as far as Philly goes, I just need Philly to be realistic, because for all the energy, I need these events to have regular working class people. It just can't be a bunch of the same old folks. You know what annoys me about these rallies lately? And I'm going to keep saying it till I turn blue. I'm tired of these rallies where you have all these Democrats that say they're going to bring out the people to be fired up for these candidates. But when I look at these crowds, it's nothing but ward leaders, state reps, and committee people. Like, where are the people? And so I really hope that Philadelphia Democrats specifically stop this whole showboaty shit where there's these press conferences, y'all want to be on the stage, y'all want to act like y'all important, but these crowds don't actually have real voters and real people that's not connected to the party. Like, I just wish they can create and allow organic. Now, I think Kamala has the ability to get and energize people to see her that's not within the party ranks. I believe she can draw a crowd. But y'all were guarded with Biden. Y'all don't have to be with Kamala in a way. Bring out the crowds and let the doors open and bring people out. It needs to happen. It really do. Because this current strategy that I'm seeing, I'm just like, it's more of the same. So, we'll see. So my Ask Ernest this week has been very interesting. For various reasons. I have a story to tell. I have some things to reveal. And I want y'all to understand my thinking on this. So I have, for a while, done this thing every year where when I have noticed that there is a sea of interests, I'm getting a lot of people in my orbit. When you just get a little, I don't know, just popping, right? I observe that there's people that come into my circle, my networks, my spaces, and I kind of do what I consider a detox of sorts, just to do a temperature check of energy, because sometimes, you could just be around people, a lot of things, and everybody's saying certain things, everybody's coming a certain type of way, and you just don't really know sometimes to separate the real from the fake, to be honest. And so every year I do this thing, and I call it baiting. But it was taught to me by a famous friend of mine. She's a woman. I'm not going to name her. But she told me this many years ago, and it's been a skill set, a trait that I have kind of incorporated in my life. And she's just full of wisdom. And one of the things she said is that, anything good in your life, something that's a good thing that is coming, or whatever the case is, be vague about the thing, about it. Like, be coy about it, in a certain way to garner reaction and judge that reaction. So don't lie. Okay. Right. It's not about lying or deceiving people, but just be a little bit more coy about a good thing or positive thing in your life and see how it's received and how certain people in your circle respond to it, right? Because it can show you some things. So one is the advice what she says, look first, for starters, one, look at, who pops out the woodwork, right, to respond. Two, observe what people are saying, right, how they're reacting. And then three, just see who's flat out lying, right? And so it's interesting. And I kind of do this once a year. And it always just kind of puts things in perspective for me. So on Friday, was it Friday? No, Thursday on my Facebook, I only did it on my Facebook, I had posted that I sent, I said something online. I just wrote the most bittersweet letter of resignation. Now, you all now know that I was referring to Cheney because it was bittersweet to write that resignation letter to let them know I was leaving, because I really did enjoy my time there. It was great. But for this game, quote unquote, that I played, I didn't disclose what it was about, where it was at, what's going on, right? So again, I said a bittersweet letter of resignation. I never told anyone that I was going to CCP. The only person who knew was Mr. Johnson and my mom. I think those were the only two people that knew. And of course, the folks at Cheney, of course. But they didn't even know I was going to CCP. They just knew I was leaving that day because I literally told them the day before I publicly announced because everything was confirmed then. But no one would have known what I was talking about outside of my husband and my mom. So it was fun to see this, right? There were people, a lot of good people, most people, let me just say that had a positive look on it. It's like, oh, something big must be happening. Something good must be coming up. Oh, wow, you leaving? Wherever you going, man, on with an upward. It was just like, that's the vibe. That was the energy. That was the positive energy. And there were people that were like, hey, is everything all right? Natural, right? Whatever. Cool. Genuine. Then I got these type of weird messages. I heard what happened, man. Keep your head up. Everything's going to be okay. I heard what happened behind the scenes. That's fucked up. Question mark? What are you talking about? That's what I said in my head. But I'm going to say something. I didn't reply back to any of them at all. I didn't respond back to any of the lies. But these are people I knew. Not besties or anything like that. Let me be clear. But people that was in, my network, my orbit. Acquaintances, associates, So then I got that one. I got somebody that said, oh, I heard you was leaving PABJ. I knew you was going to eventually exit, let me know what you got planned next, because I knew that PABJ stuff was going to eventually burn out. What? Huh? What are you talking about? I had somebody say to me, oh, I heard about what's going to WRD. I knew it was only a matter of time before they was going to come after you too. I heard she, and we're not going to say her name because I don't want to make this girl any more famous, this woman any more famous. I heard she was complaining about you, and I can't believe they did that to you. Let me know. What? Other ones. Oh, goodness. I knew those racist ass restaurant people was going to do what they was going to do. Let me know where you land after Eater. Other ones. Oh, I mean, listen, you've been at Philly Mag for a long time. I'm about to not subscribe to them because I did hear that all that Kamala talk had some of the white bigwigs up top feeling some type of way. Well, I'm here for you wherever you go. Yes, this is the shit that consistently happened. What's so disappointing about this is, one, the misinterpretation of my agency and my actual experiences with the people that they're describing. I have a good relationship with WRD Radio. I don't have a problem with them at all. Southern folks may have departed. Ain't got shit to do with me. Philly Mag, I don't know what these white big wigs are talking about. I'm cool with everybody at Philly Mag. I've been there for 8 years and counting. Ain't going nowhere until I feel like it. I love my time there. I love contributing there. Read Best of Philly, our recent issue that I helped contribute to. It's all good over there. Eater, racist restaurants. I mean, there's been racist restaurants, child, but like, why would I leave? Why would I resign? I don't get it. That doesn't make sense. I don't know what no behind the scenes, keeping me in your thoughts and prayers. I don't know what that's about. But it was crazy how so many people, but not all the people. Let me be very clear. This was a small handful of people. The majority of people were cool, chill, good people. So don't. I don't want to, over-index that. But there were a nice little cluster of folks, and I was just like, first of all, you don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. Second of all, you're snooping to try to find out, but like, it's a lie. So the crazy part is that when I made the announcement at noon on Friday, those people, ghost. None of them said, my bad, or, oh, wow, people be like, no congrats, nothing. They were quiet. And I also unfollowed them after because of that. Yeah. I also just fucked off. Like, I was just like, yeah, bye. And listen, everybody is don't need to do this, okay? Don't try this at home, kids. Everybody don't have situations that require them to do it. I don't want to create a trend of everybody's doing shit. That's not why I did. No. This is for people who are high profile people. I'm sorry. To be honest, most people are not bothered about your life to even do some shit like that in real life. But some people do. The point of matter is that what I want to get to and what this is really about for me is not just so much about trying to weed out bad actors in my network because I just have a big ass network, but also just more so of a lesson is learned here that misinformation, disinformation can easily spread without no level of merit whatsoever. And it made me realize the only way to understand this is if I'm the target. And so in this moment, I realized very quickly, damn, there are people out here who will just make shit up and pass this shit around. And it's got me thinking to myself, if you came to me and said that to me, is there other people that you might have said this to? Or assumed to, or gossiped at a table at, or a happy hour or something? Like, you just made that up. Literally. Like, Portia, you just made that up. Like Candy said. Portia, you just made that up. And sometimes you just gotta, like, shit just be made up. Like, folks just be lying. Like, there's just no truth to it. Like, none. And people like that scare me. As a journalist, I'm not afraid, but it's like, those are scary people. Like, people that just lie. Like, just outwardly, just with no rhyme or reason. Just that those are dangerous people. Steer clear away from them. Like, go far away from them. Like, move completely away from them. Like, there's no reason. Like, you don't need people like that in your space. And so, every year, when shit get a little too exciting, in a good way, you just got to be mindful about folks that just be out here. Because those are the chaos agents that we just can't afford in our lives. And back to my famous friend, one of the things that she do is she tells a secret that she'll give to a person. It's rooted in truth. She doesn't lie because the lies need to be disingenuous. But she'll say something that honestly is insignificant, but still a secret, or something that she just wants, she expects a person to keep. And she doesn't tell them that they're the only one that knows the secret, but she tells them that, this is something that she keeps near and dear and close and, makes it clear in that way. If it comes out in a tabloid or gets gossiped through on some level of attention in tabloid, she will always know who did it. And she says what she do in her team is that when it gets leaked in a certain way and it gets out in a certain type of manner, she brings that person in. She tells them they are that she knows they broke the disloyalty and trust, and she fires them. And interesting enough, she says that she's done that a couple of times, but in some cases, she's had loyal people that she's kept for years working for her because they never did it, and they was always she always knew that was a real one, that they was a loyal one, that she can count on them to be a good assistant, a good person for her, whatever. But that's how she tests them, because people can be super excited and they can run their mouth, or they can gossip, or they can whatever. You need people on your team that's loyal. You need people on your team that can hold water. You need people on your team that understands the importance. I will tell you, I have cut people off over the years. What's the word I say? People say quietly quitting. I say quietly disassociating from certain people in my life. You all seen it. Y'all might know who some of the people are, because y'all be like, I don't see that person in your pictures no more. I don't see that person around anymore. There's a reason, because folks be fake. And it's not like I got a broadcast and to say, news alert, I'm no longer cool with this person. I'm not talking to this person. I just move off them, because I will, there have been a breach in trust and loyalty. And when people do that, then you ain't coming to my birthday anymore. You not getting invited to my mix and mingles. I don't want you in my network. I don't want you in my scene, because I don't know how to fuck with you, right? And sometimes, like it's been said before, the trash will take itself out in a way that you don't even need to have a real confrontation. You see it for what it is, you know what it is, and you just go. And sometimes them people, right, they weren't really trying to be your friend in real life. They really, really didn't like you. I know this is weird, but people talk about this where you could be in friendships with people where the person really don't like you, but they just somehow they're around. I'm fortunate enough to be in situations where I know my friends really like me, because I listen, if you don't like me, you're going to have a hard time being around me. It's going to come out eventually. And I've had people who did not like me, but it was in my orbit being a quote unquote friend. And eventually I'm so annoying if you don't like me as a person, and you want to be, it's going to be hard to be fake around me for too long, because I am just so unabashedly myself that if you don't like it, it's going to be hard for you to tolerate it. You're going to want to just take yourself out. And they trash take themselves out. But I've just gotten better with being able to recognize disloyal people very quickly. And I encourage people to observe very carefully friendships, and not just friendships based on who stands up and is happy for me when I get things. I mean, that's the easy shit, right? That's the easy shit. But observe the way that people talk around you. Oprah recently got viral for talking about how she doesn't really want to have friendships with people that got an ounce of jealousy, because it just the jealousy in a friendship, it just shouldn't be that way. And if people are jealous in ways like that, it's just never, it's not a good, it's just not a good friendship. And she talks about that. And I really, yeah, I rocks with that. She just gives good advice. But yeah, I'm at a point in my life where I have too many good things going on to entertain and facilitate the insecurities of others. I just don't have the time. Like, if you got insecurities about who you are, where you want to be, and you got all that going on, and you project that shit on me, I'm not the reason, baby. I'm not. And I think we sometimes feel like we got to be there for people. There's ways to be there with people, but you be around a snake too much, and they start stinging you and biting you, and then you getting your blood drained out. It's just not a good look, okay? I tell people all the time, you got to put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you try to save others on the plane. You gotta be self-aware and self-care to make sure you preserve yourself in any situation you get into, whether it's a romantic relationship, a friendship, an acquaintanceship, a networking thing. You just gotta make sure you set parameters and boundaries everywhere, because people will play you, people will test you, people will drain you, people will do all the things. And for me, I try to do stuff light like that, because I just don't want to be super intense. But at the same time, I'm not gonna be foolish either. When I say I keep an evil eye in my tail far, for those who know what that means, I keep an evil eye in the bag. I do. And it's been helpful because I've been protected from a lot of fake ass people. Trust me, I don't tell people they fake in their face every time. I don't do all that. But trust and believe. I'm gonna tell y'all something, and ooh, I said I wasn't gonna talk about it, but I gotta talk about it. And I'm trying, and I'm not gonna name names because this person is very popular and people like them, and I don't want to be. I'm not trying to do that, but I can't even describe it all too well. Now, Dr. Parks gonna know what I'm talking about, but I'm gonna say this, and lit brothers listening, we'll talk about it when we get together for dinner or something. But so the recent situation that happened. So somebody who I guess I can say we were friends or friends, maybe that's a loose word, but we were definitely acquaintances, really good, strong acquaintances. And I have shown up for this person. It's a woman. Maybe I'm talking too much, but it's a woman. And I showed up for this person a lot. They had a very major, impactful role in the city. They were doing some really important work during a time where we needed their type of leadership. And I amplified them. I promoted them. I showcased everything they would do. Definitely did that on my podcast in the early. Okay, I'm talking too much. Shut up, Ernest. Shut up, shut up, shut up. Okay, because some people are gonna be like, "Oop, I know you." No, 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 no. We're not. Don't do it. If you know it, shut up. Okay. The goal was not to name a name, so I'm not naming a name. But anyway, I was always a cheerleader. Always a cheerleader. Always publicly, privately. Gave this person their roses. Always showed up. Always did that. Because that's what a good person do. And I think that's what a friend do. That's what a good person do. Period. So recently, this person is, very much more relevant again. They are doing something. They have something coming out very soon. Oh, I'm so bad at being very quiet. And I just be telling myself, y'all, whatever, y'all, my listeners, y'all rock with me. I have no shame in what I'm saying, but I try to be discreet. But they got something coming up very soon, and they're going to be doing a nice event, whatever. They lately have been, I feel like, smelling themselves in a way where they got a little dip on their chip. I feel like they kind of feeling themselves in a way that's like, okay, you've done some good things, but be realistic. They are having this event. They're charging people to come. Interesting enough, most events like this, people aren't charged, but they see themselves in a certain way that they think they can garner certain monies. I'll say that. So I met this person recently. We saw each other. Good vibes always. They told me about their event. I said, oh, I would love to come out and support and show love. This, that, and the third. We have mutual friends who are also very high profile. And they told me that, they got on a guest list and they're going to be there. And I said, oh, I want to be on this guest list because, I guess. And so I just nicely, hit them up and was like, hey, just want to confirm my RSVP. Where's the guest list that I can confirm? Thinking nothing of it. The person came back to me with a link to buy tickets to this event and said, oh, there's no guest list. If they're listening to this, they know who they are. I doubt they listen to my podcast because they're so busy into their own egos, but maybe they will get word. Whatever. I don't have no shame in saying it. It is what it is. They basically gave me a link and told me to buy tickets and said they didn't have a guest list. And I was like, okay, well, for starters, you just lied to me, which is weird. Second, oh, I thought, given who I am and what we've done, I'm a little surprised that you would put me in the customer line block. But okay. And yeah. So yeah, I thought that was very and that's why I tell people in life, people will show you things about themselves. Now, Mr. Johnson, because he's y'all listen. Mr. Johnson was like, I already knew that person was funny acting child. They was always kind of weird, but that was your friend, so I wasn't trying to be messy. He does this to me, but he is so right. He's the third eye in with us. Like when we go out, I'm not naive, but I'm a little bit more. People think I'm a cutthroat. I'm actually not. I'm a little bit more open and friendlier. But he's the one that's with me. He'll be with me in a room and he'll just be like, he sees things that I don't see. And I appreciate him for that. I'll go to a room and he'll see a person come up to me and smile and shake my hand at something. And he'll be just my security. He'll be like my Secret Service man. Like his eyes will look and he'll say, yeah, that one over there, they look fake. Because when you walked away, I saw them go back to their friends and start looking funny and whispering and making some eyes. And I think they fake. But he just sees things. And he's so unassuming. He's always got my back. He's always got to be in a room with me. And I got friends like that. Like Jamarcus is like that. George is like that. Josh be too busy talking to people all day like I do. We be doing that for Josh. And Josh be, me and Josh on the end be the social people that we don't be seeing the fake ass people immediately. But George and Jamarcus, baby, okay, they be seeing all kind of stuff and be coming back and telling us after the fact. And be like, oh, let us know. Delete that number, cut that card. Oh, best believe. But you got to have people like that in your corner, like looking out. And so it was very telling, that situation. Not going to put up a fight. Don't give a fuck. I'm not going to the event. I'm going to go somewhere else that night, actually, with my bestie. Dr. Park's not going to go somewhere. Girl, the tickets were confirmed, baby. We're going. You know what I'm talking about. We're going to be there. But I don't got to argue. It don't got to be a fight. No. Don't got to have a coffee tea conversation about it. You know, when a person show you who they are, believe them. And when they really show you who they are, let them be and fall back and give more energy into people that don't fuck you over or don't treat you insignificantly or do have a level of gratitude, right? Because folks can just be simply ungrateful. Some folks can just simply be feeling themselves. One thing about me with my friends, listen, y'all, I've been so blessed in this world to be able to do some incredible things. But one thing about me, I don't go Hollywood on my friends. I might be to some of these hating ass bitches, but I'm never going to go Hollywood on my friends. I'm never going to be Hollywood with people who have consistently shown me love and is intentional and is a good person. I'm never going to not do that. And anybody who knows me knows that. If you a friend for me now, you're a friend with me for life unless you just completely fall out. But like, I don't do that to people. I don't just move, I don't do that. If you a real friend and you mean well and I'm cool with you, if you call me, text me, whatever, I'm going to respond. I'm not going to be dry. I'm not going to go ghost. Like, I just don't believe in that. If you real, if I know my real friends and I just feel like there have been people that have taken advantage of my kindness. I do get taken advantage of. I have been. I'm not going to hold you. I have been. That might be my one thing. Like when I am a friend, I do care. I do show up. I do consider people. And I have had people over the years that take advantage of that. But one thing I've done is that I've never let bad relationships harden me to the point where I don't open my heart to people. I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to be like, oh, a couple of people fucked me over, so now I'm no longer going to X, Y, and Z. No, that's not it. I'm just going to just move accordingly. I'm just going to move faster. I've gotten better with that because I used to give people chances. Oh, my God. Now, I don't really give people chances like that no more. If you a hater and you fake or you a jealous person, that's just who you are. And I'm not going to keep giving a jealous person chances because it's like, what the fuck? I did that with one particular person that just kept doing fake shit. And it got to a point where it's like, I'm playing myself. I deserve better, So that's my advice to y'all out here trying to navigate friendships. Just be mindful and thoughtful about who you letting into your space. And just be, and be real about that. And don't cry. And don't cry over spilled milk because who's there for you should be there for you. And that's that on that. So moving along, movies. So y'all are hype about this damn horrible movie called Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't understand why people like this movie. I don't find it that good. But I guess people want comedy and joy. It is now the highest ranking rated R blockbuster film of all time. Debuted at $200 million at the box office. It is a smash hit. It made $98 million in one day. It is one of the top highest grossing debuts. You know, Inside Out was great, but this rated R film, could you imagine if it was rated PG-13? I mean, the fact that it got that much money as a rated R film, where a lot of people can't even go see the movie, it says a lot. But y'all love that movie. It's a smash hit. I will give you all that. But there's another movie coming out, and remember this movie. It's called Sing Sing. I'm going to say it again. It's called Sing Sing. Domingo Coleman stars in it. People are hype about this film. I got a chance to see it. It's only showing in LA and New York right now, but it will get wider distribution in the months to come. I predict that just like Rustin, Domingo Coleman might get another Oscar nomination for Best Actor back to back. Like, this guy is not playing any games. Domingo Coleman is of the moment. He is the actor of the moment. I must say, his acting, and he's kept good momentum. His fashion game is on point. He is just hot right now. He's that Hollywood actor so late in his age. He's in his 50s and he's this cute black queer actor. And I mean, he's doing it. I am here for it. This is the black Hollywood star we always wanted. Take that, Billy Porter. Anyway, I'm really excited. Domingo Coleman is the black gay movie star actor that we've always wanted. Like, he's just, he's great. But Sing Sing is definitely giving Oscar bait for sure. And there's a lot of Oscar bait movies coming out. You know, we're hearing about Selena Gomez and this new movie coming out. I forget what's called, Amelia something, but there's a lot of buzz about that. Angelina Jolie and Maria. A lot of people are saying Maria might get her, you know, an Oscar, another Oscar. She's already won one already for Girl Interrupted, which is iconic, okay, with Winona Ryder and Whoopi Goldberg. I encourage you all to watch it. It came out like 25 years ago. Wow, Angelina Jolie has been relevant for over a quarter of a century. But they're saying her role in this film called Maria might get her the Oscar. Lady Gaga is being in Best Supporting Actress category for this new Joker film, but apparently she's trying to get another Oscar nomination for acting. You know, after that whole movie House of Gucci kind of flopped, you know, A Star is Born, you know, here she comes. So we'll see. We'll see what that gives. But Oscar season is coming very soon. Get ready for the Oscar bait. Now, for music, I need you all to go back and listen to Brat by Charlie XCX. I didn't talk too much about it on my podcast when it first came out. It was good. But it seems like Brat is the moment, too. It deserves a respin. I did go back and listen to it. It's some really great pop music. The Grammy category is going to be stacked this year. I really do think that the Grammys are showing up and showing out. There's going to be a lot of women, I think, nominated for Album of the Year. So far I don't know where the men are. I mean, clearly there will be a man most likely, but women are showing up and showing out. I predict that Taylor Swift is going to get nominated for Album of the Year. I predict that Beyonce is going to get nominated. Ariana Grande is going to get nominated. Billie Eilish will get nominated. Sabrina Carpenter, I think this debut album that she got coming out is going to really do a real shake up. And I can see Charlie XCX for Brat. That's 6 women I just named. And I think Chappelle Roan, Midwestern Princess album, that could potentially get nominated. I see 7 women right now. I don't know any men right now who could get nominated for Album of the Year. I don't know any men. I don't see any men right now that I have in my purview for this Album of the Year nomination. Men have just not been doing good on the charts. You know, I mean, what, Eminem? Y'all think that new Eminem album might get a nomination for rap? I hope not. You know, Kendrick doesn't have a new album out. J. Cole's album was trash. No one's listening to Drake. Maybe 21 Savage's album, the American Dream album he did. I could see that. I could see 21 Savage's album getting nominated for Album of the Year. Maybe. That might be the one male or one of the men, right? The hip hop album to get nominated, because nobody else has dropped good rap albums. I don't see Nicki Minaj, Pink Friday too. I don't see it. I mean, Meg Thee Stallion for Megan. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think she could get nominated, right, for Hiss. I could see Hiss being nominated. But I don't see her being nominated for album of the year for this album. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think it's gonna be very women. I think it's gonna be very women centric. I don't really see that many men coming into the album of the year conversation. But the Grammys have been getting ahead of the drama. Shout out to that. So I want to read this statement that was made by the Recording Academy CEO Harvey Mason Jr. He sent a letter urging the Grammys 12,000 voting members to take their job seriously. This is the quote in the letter. Let me read this. Quote, "The trajectory of people's careers and lives are altered by your choices. As such, you owe it to your peers to vote intentionally, deliberately, with pride, and with purpose. Last Grammy season, I heard a Grammy voter say they hadn't taken a specific artist seriously since a performance they saw more than 10 years ago. I was shocked and disturbed by that. There is no place in our organization for such bias, grudge holding, or careless voting. It's about the current year and the quality of the work, period. There should be no other rationale for voting. If you are taking into account an artist's older work or their reputation or race or gender or what label they are on, who their manager is, how many friends participated in the project, or anything else like that, you're not doing your job. I know most of you already do, but please just listen to the music and evaluate it. You are the reason the Grammy Award is so special." Now, I met CEO Harvey Mason at the Grammys, and I took a picture with him. He's a nice guy, and he looks good for his age. Zaddy. I do agree with some of it. Now, some of it I was kind of like, well, I do think an artist's reputation does play a role in if I was a Grammy voter. Race and gender, what label they on, who their manager is. I mean, that's a little, I agree with that. Their older work, who gives a fuck, right? I do agree with some of his logic. But you know what he's talking about, right? Now, that artist he said 10 years ago, I think that's in reference to Miley Cyrus, because Miley Cyrus, 10 years ago had her whole, bangers era where, Miley Cyrus was pretty problematic during that era. But if you look at Miley Cyrus's music now, Flowers, that album, Endless Summer Vacation, she's evolved as an artist and she deserves people to support her based on that. So I think they're talking about her. Now, I've also heard people say that was possibly Lana Del Rey, that because of the SNL performance that was quite questionable, that they haven't taken her seriously since that performance. Now, Lana Del Rey has evolved as an artist in many ways, and I do enjoy her music, and I do understand her reputation and things. So maybe you're talking about Lana Del Rey. But I do agree with this stance that he's taking, and I do think it's good they wrote the letter, because honestly, I think he's tired of Taylor Swift winning, and I think we're all over the Grammys. And if they don't change their voting way, if the voting continues to be as trashy as it is, it might speak to some issues that the party is not ready to address. So I'm big on that. I'm just big on that. I just want to put that in perspective. I'm kind of big on that, in my opinion. Moving along, TV. The Olympics have been great so far. It's been great watching Olympics. The Olympics opener, I mean, I don't know where to start. Two big artists of our generation killed it. And I'm not talking about Gaga. I mean, Gaga's cool, whatever. That was a cute little performance. I am talking about Celine Dion. Okay? She's back. And those vocals are back. And she is styling and profiling in Paris. And she is killing it. Gorgeous. Performance. Top 10 of all time. Crying. Melting. Like, what? That is, God has a hand on her. Divine intervention is looking at her favor. We love good people. Celine Dion has always been a great artist, a very wonderful woman. I don't have a negative thing to say about her. She's just beautiful. She's lived a life and she's a great person. So I'm really happy for Celine Dion and excited for what she is doing for music. So shout out to Celine Dion. Let me just get that out the way. Just awesome. Olympic outfits, I'm not going to talk about it. The American outfits, they're cute, whatever, Ralph Lauren. But can we talk about them Tanzania Telfar outfits? Oh my goodness. them Telfar outfits in Africa for that team, let me tell you something. That is an Olympic outfit. That's my favorite pick. Telfar came through. That's a fit. I would wear that with or without. I want Clemens. Clemens, okay? I need you to give us that outfit for on sale. So shout out to them for wearing the best Olympics outfit. And then lastly, because there's so many things I can say about the Olympics thus far, but let me just say this one. Beyonce. Talk about an opener, okay? Team USA, baby. Not that I want to compare her to anybody else, but Beyonce is officially Miss America, okay? She's Miss America. She just, talk about, I mean, she's been having the best week ever. You know, a lot of people have been criticizing her that she hasn't been promoting her music and herself lately and all this. But when she shows up, she shows out. This week alone, Freedom, which came off the Lemonade album, is the official campaign song for Kamala Harris's presidential campaign. And now Beyonce's the official opener for the Team USA. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. Like, yes, Beyonce is back in contention and she just knows when to show up. Like, I just marvel at her show ups. I mean, she just be like, I'm going to disappear for a little bit. And then when she comes back, it's like the biggest promo. Like, everything with this album has been Super America. Like, I feel like this Miss America version. Like, you know, she does the Super Bowl announcement with the commercial and new music dropping at the Super Bowl to the point where almost upstage Usher's great performance. And now she comes back again during the Olympics. Like, oh my God. Like, Beyonce is just, every time, don't sleep on her. Don't sleep on Beyonce. Outside of that, I am super excited that Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, the new season, I believe this is season 12, is back. And it is hot. This season is about to be fire. The season premiere just came out last week, and I am glued to the tube. I know some of you, I fell off Love and Hip Hop, whatever, but a lot of you all still watch it because it's high in the ratings. I am one of those people that have been watching it, okay? And it comes out on Tuesdays now on MTV. And I'm in love with this Love and Hip Hop. Like, they are back, baby. So this season, Kurt and Rashida, it looks like Kurt is messing with the baby mama he stepped on her when had that baby with. That's what it looks like. Looks like there's some interesting things happening with Scrappy and Erica. Erica might be pregnant again, apparently. Some rumor, some speculation. But we're trying to figure out if it's Scrappy's baby. I'm just so in for this. It looks like there's been trouble in paradise with Jaceel, as his wife likes to call him, which is hilarious because she acts like she's the only person who got this relationship with Young Jock. Young Jock is his name, but his real name is Jaceel Robinson. And I guess so. His wife, who's on this show, she's an attorney. Young Jock's wife, this is his new wife that he just got married to. Which there was always infidelities in that relationship, but it's been crazy lately. Her name is Kendra, and she's an attorney. And their marriage has been just really rocky from the jump because he's just been accused of infidelity and just being a cheater. But Kendra has been showing up, and, you know, this is his second wife, even though he has about, I believe, you know, how many kids he has? He has 6 kids. From like 4 different baby mamas. He doesn't have any children with Kendra. He had one of those babies during the marriage. I mean, Jock's got an interesting life, but it looks like there might be some infidelity issues again, and it looks like Kendra is over it. So there's trouble in paradise in that direction. Zayn, if y'all know the rapper or R&B guy back in the day named Zayn, he's come back out of God knows where. He's on Love and Hip Hop again. Then there's the Bammy issues, and messy ass Carly Red is back. Carly Red is an OG, an ultimate OG of Love and Hip Hop. She's been on Love and Hip Hop since the very beginning, and she's just still on the show. And she's reality TV royalty. Rashida and Kurt's on the show. Spice is back on. Scrappy's still on the show. Erica, not Erica Mena, but, you know, Erica, his baby mama. You know, they're back on the show. Interesting enough, I have not seen Scrappy's mother on the show. And I don't know if that's going to be, a permanent thing, but I hope she's not on the show. Because I just felt like she was just too messy. And I also didn't think she brought anything to the show lately. So we'll see. But outside of that, this week is exciting. I'm super excited about the launch of the Philly download and to see how you all react to that. Super excited to kick off August. August is here. This is the last episode of July. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how all that unfolds. And, I'm just figuring out who's going to be the next, VP pick for Kamala. So we'll see. But as always, be well and be best.
Ernestly Speaking is recorded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. To stay up to date with the latest on the show, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mr. Ernest Owens. Use the hashtag Ernestly Speaking to tell me what you thought about this episode, and check out my website at ernestowens.com.